Hua Wang frowned. Are they treating us like criminals? Both of them were disciples from sects led by a venerable, so they had the confidence to push back against such an unreasonable demand. The other disciples from the remaining sects also looked defiant. If Venerable Heart, Bane himself, had arrived, they would have just held their noses and complied. But for some random person to show up, waving his name around and expecting them to just fall in line, that was going too far. Jiao Huangyan just smiled, pulling out several more vials of Hunyuan 9, colored marrow. He offered a respectful gesture. Everyone, Venerable Heart, Bane would never let you be inconvenienced. Anyone who cooperates with the screening will receive a vial of Hunyuan 9, colored marrow, as compensation. You've all just broken through to the Nascent Soul realm. I imagine you're scrambling to acquire this very treasure. The Venerable has already thoughtfully prepared it for you. The 9 warriors who had successfully broken through to the Nascent Soul realm couldn't hide their surprise. Hunyuan 9, colored marrow, was incredibly rare. Even the great 3 divine sects and 7 great cults had limited stockpiles, obtainable only in small amounts after completing numerous missions and earning enough merit. A single jade vial of this stuff was worth what an ordinary elder might earn in an entire year of merit. It would be a significant boost to opening their second aperture. Instantly, the resentment vanished from their faces. Feng Yuanzong's anger melted into a wide smile. The Venerable is too generous. We juniors should be cooperating anyway. Why would we need compensation? Let me be the first. Jiao Huangyan grinned. All right, just hold this aura orb, specially crafted by Venerable Heart. Bane, it will draw out all the power within you. If there's any trace of void, flow lightning force, the Taoist compass will react. Feng Yuanzong immediately gripped the aura orb. Just as Venerable Heart, Bane's oppressive presence had once forced out the hidden powers and bloodlines of Yu Qiuan and Fairy Cloud Raiment. Several distinct energies now manifested behind Feng Yuanzong, one of which seemed to be a strange bloodline. Before anyone could get a clear look, he hastily let go of the aura orb. Jiao Huangyan stared intently at the Taoist compass in his hand. Seeing no reaction, he said, "My apologies for the disturbance, fellow Taoist Feng. Here is a vial of Hunyuan 9, colored marrow for your trouble." He handed over a vial of Hunyuan 9, colored marrow, which Feng Yuanzong accepted with a beaming smile. Seeing that he was actually giving it away, the remaining Nascent Soul Heavens chosen eagerly stepped forward. Jiao Huangyan smiled calmly. Patience, everyone. I'll go by your token numbers, one by one. His gaze lifted and settled on Fang Chen, a flicker of apprehension in his eyes. With a cupped fist gesture, he said, "Fellow Taoist tyrant, my apologies for the intrusion. Would you please hold this aura orb?" He politely offered the aura orb to Fang Chen. Fang Chen felt the powers inside him begin to boil, threatening to break free. Just being near the orb was doing this. If he actually held it, it'd be game over. The void, flow lightning force would erupt on the spot. This Venerable Heart, Bane, he just won't let up. How he deduced that a practitioner of the void flow lightning force would be crossing the tribulation recently, I have no idea. But he's deviously used this gathering of heavens, chosen to his advantage. No, this whole gathering was probably orchestrated by Venerable Heart, Bane from the shadows. His goal was to bring together everyone who recently succeeded in crossing the tribulation. How else could you explain Jiao Huangyan showing up uninvited? This whole thing is a trap, and I, Fang Chen, walked right into it. Staring at the aura orb before him, 1,000 thoughts raced through his mind. Kill Jiao Huangyan, but then would he have to silence all the innocent people here, too? Turn and run, that would be an admission of guilt, leaving no room for denial. What awaited him then would be an endless hunt, with nowhere to hide between heaven and earth. What should I do? Seeing Fang Chen hesitate, a flash of suspicion crossed Jiao Huangyan's eyes. Sir, why don't you take it? Are you afraid? Smack! Suddenly, his vision blurred, and a stinging slap cracked across his face. The crisp sound echoed through the stunned, silent Martial Dao Arena. Jiao Huangyan clutched his handsome, burning cheek, fury blazing in his eyes. What's the meaning of this? We're in the Nascent Soul realm, slapping people like common mortals. Have you no dignity? Fang Chen watched him coolly. Do you know my name? Jiao Huangyan's face darkened. Is your name important? Tyrant is obviously a moniker, not your real name. But what does it matter? Whatever you're called, you have no right to evade Venerable Heart, Bane's investigation. Fang Chen said lightly, and do you know the name of Venerable Heart, Bane's nominal disciple? Jiao Huangyan snorted. Of course I do. The champion of the ancient road to heaven, Fang Chen, what's your point? This information was restricted to the upper echelons of the major sects. Everything that happened on the ancient road to heaven, including Venerable Heart, Bane taking Fang Chen as his nominal disciple, had been suppressed. The average disciple knew nothing, but Jiao Huangian was in the loop. Fang Chen nodded, took out his heavenly secret pavilion disciple token, and slapped it down on the table. The side engraved with the name Fang Chen was facing up. Jiao Huangian's expression froze. Fang Chen, you're Fang Chen, the nominal disciple of Venerable Heart. Bane, impossible. Fang Chen casually turned to Yu Qiyuan, senior sister Yu, who am I? Everyone knew that Yu Qiyuan was the one Fang Chen had personally guided all the way up the ancient road to heaven. She looked around at the stunned crowd and said with a sigh, "Everyone, this senior before you is the very same villain Fang Chen you were all so eager to condemn. Haven't you wondered why Senior Feng has been so quiet? He recognized Senior Fang Chen from the start and didn't dare make a move." The arena fell into absolute silence, broken only by the sound of sharp, ragged breaths. For Hua Wang especially, the world went black. Everything was spinning. Her entire world was shattering. Fang Chen paid them no mind. He stood, snatched the Taoist compass from Jiao Huangian's hand, and said flatly, "Using my master's own device to test me, you've got some nerve." Jiao Huangian's face went pale, then red. This was a classic case of family fighting family. No wonder Fang Chen was angry. He was probably just taking out his frustration on him for being too blind to recognize who he was. But did he have to slap him? And in front of everyone, the humiliation burned in his chest. In a low voice, he said, "Fellow Taoist Fang, you never revealed your identity. How was I to know you were the Venerable's disciple?" Fang Chen replied coolly, "My master doesn't care about reasons, only results. A Venerable's disciple is not to be insulted. You, an outsider, dared to test me. A single slap was getting off easy. Don't make that mistake again. Now, cooperate and help me find this cultivator of the void, flow lightning force. Give the aura orb to Hua Wang. Let's get back to business." Jiao Huangian swallowed his humiliation and followed Fang Chen's orders. With a disciple of Venerable Heart, Bane present, it wasn't his place to give commands anymore. Besides, their objective was the same. To help Venerable Heart, Bane. Hua Wang gripped the aura orb. 2 types of power manifested, but there was no sign of void, flow lightning force. Next. Under Fang Chen's direction, the 9 nascent soul heavens chosen from the Taking Grand Province were quickly screened. Jiao Huangian was deeply disappointed. It seemed their target wasn't here. Fang Chen snorted, "You forgot someone, me. Why don't you test me too?" Having already been slapped once, Jiao Huangian's mouth twitched. He waved his hand dismissively. "Fellow Taoist Fang, you must be joking. I might suspect anyone else, but never you." The disciple personally chosen by Venerable Heart, Bane, couldn't possibly be the practitioner of void, flow lightning force he's searching for. "There's absolutely no need to test you. My apologies for the intrusion. Farewell." As he left the Martial Dao Arena, he shot a hateful glare back at Fang Chen, then took out his transmission jade pendant and began to record a message truthfully. To Venerable Huimu, the newly ascended nascent soul disciples of the Taking Grand Province have all been tested. No traces of void, flow lightning force were found. He paused, then added another line additionally. The Venerable's disciple is here. He also successfully completed his tribulation crossing. He was not tested. Please be advised. He thought for a moment, the stinging heat on his cheek a sharp reminder, and silently deleted the last part of his message. Best not to make things more complicated. What if the Venerable asked about Fang Chen and how they met? Would he have to report how Fang Chen had humiliated him in public? Was that a conversation he really wanted to have? The borders of the fire worship cult. Venerable Heart, Bane stood atop a mountain, hands clasped behind his back, his gaze fixed on the distant territory of the fire worship cult. The border was right there, a stone's throw away, yet he dared not cross it. His transmission jade pendant chimed. He glanced down, a slight frown creasing his brow. The disciples from the 3 divine sects and 7 great cults who were crossing the tribulation were all accounted for. He sent a reply. "Are you certain they've all been tested?" Jiao Huangian's response came quickly. "All 9 have been screened. There are no practitioners of the void, flow lightning force among them." Venerable Heart, Bane's eyes narrowed. He desperately wanted to investigate the scene himself, but a wary glance toward the fire worship cult's territory was enough to extinguish the thought. Jiao Huangian was reliable. If he said there was no one, then there was no one. In that case, the target must be hidden among one of the smaller, lesser-known sects. With that thought, he vanished without a trace. The great whole of the fire worship cult. A short, gaunt old man with reddish skin cast a fleeting, indifferent glance in the direction of Venerable Heart, Bane, before looking away. They didn't find the boy. The cult master standing before him broke into a cold sweat, reporting to Senior Mu. We've searched for 5 days without a single trace. He must have realized the gravity of his mistake and fled to escape punishment. The old man snorted. He's lucky he's a fast runner. Get your people ready. The fire spring can no longer be contained. It's more violent than in past years, and I expect it to erupt ahead of schedule. A chill ran down the cult master's spine. Not only was it early, but the eruption would be even more catastrophic. Utterly oblivious that he had just narrowly escaped 2 separate disasters, Fang Chen's heart was still heavy with dread. The void, flow lightning force, was a sword hanging over his head, a threat that could manifest at any second. His quick thinking had saved him this time, but he knew it was only a temporary reprieve. There were only a handful of people who had recently attempted crossing the tribulation. If Venerable Heart, Bane, investigated them one by one, he would inevitably find his way to him. Worse, Venerable Heart, Bane, had already sensed the void, flow fire force at the end of the ancient road to heaven. Fang Chen's presence nearby at that exact moment already made him a prime suspect. If Venerable Heart, Bane, discovered he had just successfully crossed his tribulation, how could he not become the primary suspect? At that point, it would be game over. Hunted by a fully committed Venerable Heart, Bane, not even Fang Chen, for all his power, could escape. The world would become a cage with nowhere left to run. He had to find a way to neutralize this threat. Completely oblivious, the 9 Nascent Soul experts strolled out of the Martial Dao Arena, each one grinning as they cradled their freshly acquired Hunyuan 9, colored marrow. Hua Wang was among them, trying her best to look casual as she chatted and laughed with Yun Qi, making her escape. But she didn't get far before something stopped her dead in her tracks. A powerful hand shot out and gripped the back of her collar. "And where do you think you're going?" Hua Wang's face fell, and she forced a smile that looked more painful than tears. "Senior Fang, can I help you with something?" Fang Chen chuckled, yanking her back. A dangerous smirk played on his lips. "So, you were leading the charge against me just now, weren't you?" Hua Wang's expression froze. No, it wasn't just me," she stammered. There was Ma Qingyan and Yun Qi, and senior brother Liu from the Myriad Phenomena Void World. With a spectacular lack of loyalty, she immediately sold out everyone else who had been so vocal. They had all ganged up on Fang Chen together. There was no way she was taking the fall for this alone. The people she named froze in their tracks. They were too scared to leave, but even more terrified to face Fang Chen. The others whose names hadn't been called took it as a royal pardon and scrambled away as fast as they could. Fang Chen gave them a cursory glance and chuckled, his eyes landing back on Hua Wang. He pinched her cheek. "But you were the loudest of them all, weren't you? Yelling, cheering, laughing your head off. And something about tying me up and hanging me upside down for 49 days. Still planning on doing that?" Hua Wang looked like she was about to cry. No more tying. And the 64-punch beatdown. Her cheeks were pinched so hard her face contorted. "Okay, I'll stop hitting you," Hua Wang whimpered. "And what about stabbing me 81 times? Tears welled up in Hua Wang's eyes. "I won't stab you anymore." Fang Chen scoffed. "You're just a debt-repaying fairy. And you think you can take me down? I'll sell you off right now." Hua Wang finally broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. "I want to go home, master. Please come get me," sob. Fang Chen snapped. "Fine. I'll contact your master right now." He took out his transmission jade pendant and sent a message to Song Lingyu. "You there? 10 days are up. Time to pay your debt." "Why aren't you answering? Playing dead." "I'm selling your disciple. If you don't reply, I mean it." "Fangji, sanct you eri madhouse." Adept Sankian frowned at Song Lingyu, who was basking in the courtyard sun. "Why aren't you answering their messages?" "They seem so desperate." "It must be important." Song Lingyu clutched her transmission jade pendant, saying sheepishly, It's nothing. Just some spam message from who knows where, ignore it." She yanked the incessantly buzzing transmission jade pendant from her waist and tossed it into her spatial storage artifact. Finally, silence. What else could she do? There was no way to get her hands on a heaven-soaring pill right now. So, playing dead was her only option. Adept Sankian was confused, but didn't press the matter. But then a thought struck him. "Oh, by the way, where's your disciple, Hua Wang?" "She left with you. Why didn't she come back?" Song Lingyu froze. Her eyes darted for a moment before she put on a deeply melancholic expression. She sighed. "Disciple? What disciple? For someone like me, for whom life has lost all meaning. How could I possibly have a disciple?" You lying? Who's that? Adept Sankian shook his head and sighed as he walked back inside. There she goes again, lost in her madness. He muttered with a resigned sigh. She's even forgotten her own disciple. I just hope Yu Wang is safe. Fire Worship Cult, Martial Dao Arena. Staring at the endless stream of messages, all marked as read with no reply, Yu Wang's face was a mess of tears. Her sobs grew louder, Fang Chen's expression darkened, so she's really just a deadbeat. The one time I let someone buy on credit, and they teach me a lesson like this, the absolute nerve. He turned to the few people lingering in the Martial Dao Arena. I'm selling Hua Wang, for heaven, soaring pills takes her, any takers. Ma Qingyan and the others just stared at each other, stunned. Hua Wang, the #1 female heavens chosen of the taking Grand Province, was now just collateral for Fang Chen's debt. The world had officially been turned on its head. Suddenly, a blinding pillar of fire shot into the sky with a deafening roar. The column of flame tore through the heavens, incinerating clouds in its path before punching a gaping, fiery hole in the dome of the sky. Multi-colored shards of exotic fire began to rain down from the sky. They radiated a terrifying heat, each flake powerful enough to incinerate an entire city. Some were so intense that anyone below the Nascent Soul realm would be instantly vaporized upon contact. Within the fire worship cult, legions of disciples, clearly prepared for this, rushed out into the open. They charged toward the falling exotic fire, each unleashing their unique abilities to capture the flames. First, to minimize the destruction caused by the fire spring's eruptions, and second, to harness that power to fuel their own fire-based abilities. Fang Chen's eyes narrowed. Come to think of it, didn't his Azure True Fire art grow stronger by devouring exotic fire? Watching the exotic fire rain from the sky, his gaze turned predatory. 2 of those flames burned with an intensity that put his Asura karmic fire to shame. Fang Chen didn't dare use his void, flow lightning force right now, let alone cultivate with it, but using the void, flow fire force. That shouldn't be an issue. Just as he was about to move, the fire worship Sect Masters' voice boomed from the depths of the sect. Fellow Taoists, the fire spring is erupting early. Ready your sacred flame orders and prepare to claim the sacred flame. Make sure you use the sacred flame order to contain it, unless you want to be incinerated. So, the sacred flame order wasn't just an invitation, it was a containment vessel for the exotic fire. Hua Wang suddenly remembered her mission. Aside from confronting Fang Chen at the Martial Dao Arena, she was supposed to find an extra sacred flame order for Senior Tyrant. But after everything that had happened, the task had completely slipped her mind. Yun Qi, do you have a spare sacred flame order? I want to get one for Senior Fang. Hua Wang asked urgently. Yun Qi shrugged. Where am I supposed to pull a spare order from? I have 2 friends who weren't planning on claiming any fire, but they've already left. It's too late to track them down now. She glanced at Fang Chen. She really wanted to befriend him, but a sacred flame was a massive fortuitous opportunity. Was giving up her only shot worth it? The other heavens chosen weighed the same thought, but they quickly abandoned the idea of giving up their orders to curry favor. There would be other chances to befriend Fang Chen, but they might not get another shot at a sacred flame. Senior Fang, take mine. Yu Yuan ran over, unhooking the sacred flame order from her waist. Fang Chen was caught off guard. What about you? Don't tell me you don't care about the sacred flame. You wouldn't have traveled across half of taking Grand Province to get here if you didn't. Having already failed her attempt at crossing the tribulation, she needed to stockpile resources for her next chance. Yet here she was, handing this precious opportunity to Fang Chen. Yu Yuan shook her head. I'm only in the core formation realm. The grade of fire I could claim is limited anyway. It'd be a waste in my hands. Don't delay, or you'll miss out on the top-tier flames even with the sacred flame order. Fang Chen thought for a moment before giving a firm nod. All right. Thank you, Senior Sister Yu. He took the sacred flame order and bolted from the Martial Dao Arena, streaking through the sky like a bolt of lightning. Once he was gone, Ma Qingyan sighed, looking at her with pity. Junior Sister Yu. That was incredibly reckless. That sacred flame order could have gotten you a powerful exotic fire to gift to Master Qingyan. He might have considered granting you another tribulation opportunity. Now, you've given it to Fang Chen, and he might not even appreciate it. Was it really worth it? Yu Yuan looked away, a hint of helplessness in her eyes. I couldn't help it. Junior brother Fang has been so good to me. I couldn't just stand by and watch him come all this way for nothing. Ma Qingyan shook his head. You're going to regret this. With a quick signal, he led the other disciples from the sea-end pavilion into the clouds. Yu Yuan was left alone, sitting on the long steps of the Martial Dao Arena, watching the others chase their prizes with a pang of envy. High in the sky, Fang Chen locked onto the two most powerful flames and accelerated. But he wasn't the only one who had noticed them. The other powerhouses were already moving. Several figures, radiating the overwhelming presence of the 6 aperture and 7 aperture realms, had already arrived before him. A closer look revealed they were all members of the Fire Worship cult, taking full advantage of their home ground. Fire Worship Sect Master led the charge, using his sacred flame order to claim one of the superior flames. The second prime flame was quickly snatched up by another elite member of the Fire Worship cult. The Fire Worship Sect Master laughed heartily. "Honored guests, please, feel free to choose from the remaining flames. They are quite potent as well." The Sect Master of the Great Yin sect snorted. "You expect me to pick through your scraps? I'm not coming back next time." The Tower Lord of Jiangshan Yipin looked on, equally frustrated. Gu Zinner glared at the Fire Worship cult members, who had beaten them to the punch. It wasn't just the two most powerful flames. Every decent fire was being guarded by a powerhouse from the Fire Worship cult. The guests were left to fight over the dregs the cult didn't want. Sure, they were worth something, but their value was nothing compared to a high-grade sacred flame. Fang Chen couldn't help but laugh bitterly at himself, trying to snatch a prize from the Fire Worship cult. They were the masters of fire. The idea that he could claim the best exotic fire was just wishful thinking. He should just stick to the plan, help the Fire Worship cult by collecting the unwanted, lesser sacred flames, and help mitigate the disaster. A satisfied smile spread across the Fire Worship Sect Master's face as he watched the members of the other sects scramble after the lesser sacred flames. The threat of the Fire Spring was contained, and the other sects didn't walk away with any real treasures. It was the perfect outcome. Still, this year's eruption from the Fire Spring seemed weaker than usual. Was it really as dangerous as the elders had warned? He gazed down pensively at the earth. At the mouth of the fire spring nestled deep within the grounds of the Fire Worship cult. Flickering embers pulsed from its depths, the rhythm accelerating, showing no signs of settling down after the eruption. If anything, it looked like it was building up to something far, far worse. The thought struck him like a bolt of lightning. His face drained of all color as he screamed, "Get back! The fire spring isn't done." A cold sweat beaded on his brow. The fire spring had only ever erupted once, never twice. They had all grown complacent, himself included. In the mad scramble for the sacred flames, several cultivators had drifted directly over the mouth of the fire spring. If it erupted now, the consequences would be unthinkable. He yelled the warning again, his body blurring as he shot backward. Perfected Yunhuo was right in the danger zone. By the time the cult master's warning cry reached him, and he realized the peril, it was too late. The fire spring erupted. A pillar of fire, 1,000 feet high and twice as thick as the first, blasted toward the heavens, giving Perfected Yunhuo no time to even think. His world dissolved into a crimson inferno, then plunged into darkness. He braced for the searing pain, but it never came. As his vision returned, he found himself perched on the back of a lightning dragon, more than half of its form scorched away. A young man in black robes gripped his arm. Who else could it be but Fang Chen? "Fang Chen!" Perfected Yunhuo cried out. Then, remembering that the entire Fire Worship cult was hunting him, he dropped his voice to a harsh whisper, his face a mask of pure shock. The kid didn't run. He stayed right here in the Fire Worship cult's territory. Was he insane? It was a death sentence. But Fang Chen ignored him, his gaze fixed on the pillar of fire with grim intensity. "Your Fire Worship cult took a heavy hit just now," Fang Chen said. "At least 4 Nascent Soul Realm Masters were caught in that blast. One of them was a 5 aperture Nascent Soul." As the pillar of fire faded, nothing remained. The 4 powerful Nascent Soul Masters had been vaporized. Not even a trace of ash was left behind. The Fire Worship Sect Master snapped back to reality, a raw cry of anguish tearing from his throat, Perfected Longyan. The disciples of the Fire Worship cult looked on in horrified disbelief. Perfected Longyan was one of their most respected elders, a true grandmaster of the fire arts. And just like that, he was gone. More anguished shouts echoed through the air, cries from the friends and disciples of the other 3 fallen Nascent Soul Realm Masters. Fang Chen was stunned. Even beings as powerful as Nascent Soul Realm Cultivators were so fragile in the face of nature's raw power. Wiped out in an instant, fiery eruption had torn a new, massive hole in the sky, and from it rained a shower of multi-colored exotic fires. At least 4 of them were high grade, the same quality as the one the fire worship Sect Master had claimed earlier. But one stood out, a jade, green flame, shaped like a delicate lotus leaf, that radiated a terrifying heat far beyond any high-grade exotic fire. The Asura karmic fire that Fang Chen had absorbed felt like a mere candle flame in its presence, not even a tenth of its power. Could it be a top-grade sacred flame? If he could get his hands on it, his Azure True Fire art would instantly reach great mastery. And with that, his void, flow fire force would soar to new heights. According to the divine monarch of the 5 elements, once any of the void, flow 5 energies reached great mastery, it would generate its own elemental origin source. If he could generate a fire origin, he would be immune to all other flames in existence. The sheer power he could wield would be terrifying to imagine. Fang Chen's heart hammered against his ribs. Without a second thought, he let go of perfected Yunhuo and shot toward the jade, green top, grade sacred flame. But Fang Chen wasn't the only one who saw it. The fire worship Sect Master felt its presence and drew a sharp, shocked breath. The Earth Core Nether Ghost Fire, it erupted too. That's a legendary exotic fire, one that even cultivators in the late Nascent Soul realm fear. A burning desire ignited in his eyes. If he could assimilate that flame, his 7 Aperture Nascent Soul would be powerful enough to face an 8 Aperture Nascent Soul without fear. He could even use it to gravely injure one of the legendary 9 Aperture Nascent Souls. He shot into the sky without a moment's hesitation. The Sect Master of the Great Yin Sect also sensed the flame's extraordinary power, a deep dread coloring his features. A potent exotic fire like this was the ultimate counter to cultivators like him who wielded Yin Kai. This Netherworld Ghost Fire unsettled him to his core. He had no doubt that the Yin Kai he had spent decades cultivating would be melted away like paper in its presence. Even his meticulously crafted Yin corpses would likely break free from his control under its searing heat. He couldn't let it fall into anyone else's hands. It would become a disaster for the great Yin sect. He surged forward. The pavilion master of the Jiangshan Yipin Pavilion let out a booming laugh. I knew the real show was just getting started. He tore open a spatial scroll and instantly teleported to the front of the pack. The other experts' faces twisted in fury. Stop, they roared. Back off. That exotic fire belongs to the fire worship cult. Don't you dare touch it. The pavilion master of the Jiangshan Yipin Pavilion just laughed and swung the sacred flame order toward the green flame. But a black shadow shot past him, moving so fast it seemed to slice through space itself. It was the Sect Master of the Great Yin Sect. With a pained grimace, he unleashed a phantom crow, eerily similar to the tattoo on Venerable Evil Crow's face. The spectral bird snatched the Netherworld Ghost Fire in its beak and took off. The Netherworld Ghost Fire was already searing the phantom to nothing, but it would last just long enough to deliver the prize to the Sect Master of the Great Yin Sect. But it didn't get far. The fire worship Sect Master locked his eyes on the crow. With a mere tremor of his body, the phantom bird burst into flames from within, incinerating it instantly. The Netherworld Ghost Fire was once again free for the taking. Experts from every sect unleashed their full might in a chaotic free-for-all. The sky was a tapestry of kaleidoscopic light woven from the brilliant arcs of countless divine arts. The dazzling display was so overwhelming, it was impossible to tell friend from foe. A sharp glint flashed in Fang Chen's eyes. He hadn't used the void fishing rod at all in the past few days, which meant he still had all 3 of his daily uses left. From his test run on Hua Wying, he knew that all he had to do was lock onto a target with his mind, and he could snatch it right out of the void. So, he ducked inside the main hole of the fire worship cult, wasted no time pulling out the void fishing rod, and with a target locked in his mind, he cast the line. At that very moment, the Sect Master of the Great Yin Sect and the Fire Worship Sect Master were locked in a fierce battle over the Netherworld Ghost Fire, both just moments away from seizing it. But as they clashed, a fissure in space tore open beneath the Netherworld Ghost Fire without any warning. In a flash, a golden hook shot out and yanked the flame into the void. By the time they realized what had happened, the Netherworld Ghost Fire had vanished without a trace. The next time they sensed its presence, it was already inside the main hall. Having reeled in the Netherworld Ghost Fire, Fang Chen immediately put the void fishing rod away before anyone could notice. That rod would draw even more greedy eyes than the flame itself. He absolutely couldn't let anyone see it. Once the rod was safely hidden, he took out the sacred flame order and pressed it against the searing heat of the Netherworld Ghost Fire. In an instant, the flame was absorbed directly into the order. Without a second's hesitation, he used shadow in the clouds, shattering the whole wall as he burst outside. Just as the Sect Master of the Great Yin Sect, the Fire Worship Sect Master, and the Tower Lord of Jiangshan Yipin arrived. They were met with the sight of Fang Chen rocketing into the sky on a lightning dragon. Cries of outrage erupted as they all unleashed their attacks on Fang Chen, desperately trying to cut off his escape. But the lightning dragon was impossibly fast, vanishing from sight in the blink of an eye. The Sect Master of the Great Yin sect roared in fury. "You think a mere junior like you can escape from right under my nose?" He produced a man-sized mirror as black as polished obsidian. Facing the direction Fang Chen had vanished, he bellowed an incantation. "Let the world be your cage. All paths lead back to me." The world seemed to warp around him. Fang Chen was flying straight ahead, yet suddenly the space itself twisted into a loop. His lightning dragon flew a full circuit, only to find itself right back where it started. Before he could even process what was happening, the Sect Master of the Great Yin sect and the Fire Worship Sect Master were already upon him. Both of them were at the 7 Aperture Nascent Soul realm. Their attacks were powerful enough to move mountains and boil seas. How could Fang Chen possibly stand against that? On pure instinct, he unleashed the drunken banished immortal. As he muttered an incantation, a mysterious wave of soul energy washed over everyone nearby. He was at the 4 Aperture Nascent Soul realm, and his technique affected anyone whose soul power wasn't 3 full levels above his own. Not even a 7 Aperture Nascent Soul was immune. The moment the incantation took effect, both the Sect Master of the Great Yin sect and the Fire Worship Sect Master staggered. Their minds clouded for a split second, and their attacks faltered. The Tower Lord of Jiangshan Yipin, who had crept up behind Fang Chen unnoticed, was even worse off, stumbling unsteadily. At only the 5 Aperture Nascent Soul realm, the effect on him was far more severe. Fang Chen shot him a sidelong glance. This guy. Seizing the opening, he once again used shadow in the clouds to escape. But this time he didn't try to flee into the distance. It was futile. They had already locked down the surrounding space, so running was pointless. His only option was to hide. This was where the spirit concealment talisman from Mount Sanking would come in. He glanced toward the deeper recesses of the Fire Worship cult's territory and vanished in a flash. The Sect Master of the Great Yin sect was the first to shake off the effect. He roared, "You brat, you know secret soul techniques too." He unleashed a devastating palm strike, sending a wave of power hurtling toward Fang Chen. Fang Chen's expression hardened. Without hesitation, he brandished the heaven, monitoring mirror, reflecting 70% of the attack's force right back at its source. The remaining 30% of the force slammed into him, blasting him off his feet. He crashed violently into the entrance of an underground palace belonging to the Fire Worship cult. The impact was so strong that the sacred flame order was knocked from his grasp, flying through the air. Forcing down the coppery taste of blood in his throat, he scrambled to his feet and lunged for the sacred flame order. But out of nowhere, an old man appeared in front of the sacred flame order, bent down and picked it up. He said, "Careful now, young man. You shouldn't be tossing treasures like this around." Fang Chen let out a small sigh of relief and stepped forward. "Thank you, senior." But as the old man straightened up and Fang Chen finally got a clear look at his face, their eyes met and they both froze. Fang Chen recovered first, reaching for the sacred flame order as if nothing was wrong. But no matter how hard he tugged, the sacred flame order wouldn't budge. It was as if it were fused to the old man's palm. The red-faced old man's eyes narrowed, pinning Fang Chen with his gaze. "It's you." Fang Chen averted his gaze. "It's not me. You must have me confused with someone else, senior." The red-faced old man glared, still trying to deny it. "You swindled me out of crystal stones worth 100 times the price. I'd recognize your face even if you were burned to ash." Fang Chen cursed his luck of all the days for this to happen. He'd been at the Fire Worship cult for nearly a week without a problem, and now, on his very last day, he runs into this particular senior. To be perfectly honest, it was all my companion's idea. She's Hua Wang from the Sanctuary of Myriad Tribulations. Her master is Song Lingyu. You should direct your grievances to the one responsible, senior. Don't blame an honest man like me. The red-faced old man stomped his foot, cracking the very ground beneath him. He let out a furious laugh. "You, honest, you little brat. If you're honest, then there isn't a single scoundrel in the entire world." A chill ran down Fang Chen's spine. He decided to cut his losses and let go of the sacred flame order. Fine, consider this a gift to make up for it. My apologies, senior, farewell." With that, he immediately summoned a lightning dragon to make his getaway. But as the lightning dragon swooped down to pick him up, the elder merely glanced at it. and it dissipated into nothing. In the next instant, Fang Chen's entire body was frozen solid, completely unable to move, just like that time with Venerable Evil Crow. Fang Chen sucked in a sharp breath, staring at the red-faced elder in utter disbelief. "See, Senior, you're a venerable." He could practically feel the universe conspiring against him. Of all the people he could have accidentally scammed, it just had to be a Soul Transformation Venerable. In the entire Taking Grand Province, there are only a handful of Soul Transformation Venerables. The odds of actually running into one must be 1,000,000,000 to 1, right? Yet here he was, staring one in the face. If this wasn't the universe's way of screwing him over, he didn't know what was. "Oh, so you actually know what a venerable is?" The red-faced elder chuckled. Fang Chen swallowed hard. "Senior, please, calm your anger. I'm an official translator appointed by a venerable of the Sanctuary of Myriad Tribulations. I'm Venerable Mantra's most trusted partner and an envoy hand, picked by the Bodhisattva himself. We're on the same side." The red-faced elder fumed. "Who the hell is on your side? You little black market scammer. I'm going to rip your heart out and see just how pitch black it is for you to have overcharged me by 100 times for those crystal stones." Fang Chen's eyes nearly popped out of his head. Who was this old man, and how did he have the nerve to talk such a massive game? Then he noticed something bizarre. Even though the old man radiated the power of a Soul Transformation Venerable, there was no divine halo behind his head. Was something wrong with his body? Was his deity transformation realm cultivation unstable? Fang Chen's mind began to race. Before the elder could make a move, Fang Chen blurted out, "Senior, have you heard of chrono dust? I know where to find some." A sharp glint flashed in the red-faced elder's eyes. "Chrono dust? A swindler like you actually knows the whereabouts of chrono dust." Fang Chen rushed to explain, "Senior, to be honest, I'm the Vice Pavilion Master of the Supreme Rivers and Mountains Tower. I have my finger on the pulse of every rare commodity on this continent." The red-faced elder looked genuinely surprised. "No wonder you're such a crook. You're from the Supreme Rivers and Mountains Tower, and a Vice Pavilion Master, no less." Just then, a group of powerhouses including the Sect Master of the Great Yin Sect, the Fire Worship Sect Master, and the Tower Lord of Zhongshan Yipin arrived at the scene. Their eyes burned with greed the moment they saw the sacred flame order in the elder's hand. Fortunately, a deep bow from the Fire Worship Sect Master snapped them back to their senses before they did something stupid. "Senior, what brings you out from seclusion?" The red-faced elder glanced at the sacred flame order in his hand. The Nether Ghost Fire showed itself. "I figured I'd come out and take a look." He casually tucked the artifact into his sleeve. It was as if a bucket of ice water had been dumped over the crowd's burning ambitions. This old man was incredibly mysterious. He wasn't someone any of them dared to offend. Now that the Nether Ghost Fire was in his possession, no one else stood a chance of getting their hands on it. The Fire Worship Sect Master couldn't hide his disappointment. Cupping his hands, he said, "We shall take our leave then." One by one, the experts retreated with deep, respectful bows. "Are you the Pavilion Master of the Zhongshan Yipin Pavilion?" the red-faced elder called out, stopping the leader in his tracks. The man quickly turned back around, bowing low. "I am Senior. How can I be of service?" The red-faced elder gave a heavy, disgruntled snort. "You'd better keep your people at the Supreme Rivers and Mountains Tower in check. Your members have become absolute crooks. It's disgraceful." The Pavilion Master of the Zhongshan Yipin Pavilion was baffled by the sudden scolding, but he could only nod in confusion. "I will take your teachings to heart, Senior." As he cautiously retreated, he couldn't help but think, "I really need to clean house and fix the culture in the pavilion. Doubling or tripling your profit is one thing, but greedily charging 10 times the price. No wonder the heavens are angry." Even a man of his stature couldn't stand it. Once the crowd had finally dispersed, the red-faced elder turned his gaze back to Fang Chen. With his hands behind his back, he commanded, "Follow me." Left with no choice, Fang Chen steeled himself and followed the red-faced elder into the underground palace. Just before heading down, he sent a mental command to the little Killin to snatch the heavenly thunderstone and make a run for it. He had way too many treasures on him. He couldn't risk letting a venerable search his person. The temperature inside the underground palace was even more intense. By the time they reached a secret chamber at the lowest level, Fang Chen's clothes were starting to singe. He was forced to use the power of the Nascent Soul to shield himself from the blistering heat. He stood stiffly in the secret chamber, his eyes darting around the room. He spotted a familiar blueprint on the table and was momentarily speechless. Wasn't that the design for the Phoenix Feather 9 Flames fan? That meant the Master Craftsman Venerable mantra had been trying to commission was none other than this red-faced elder. The red-faced elder looked at Fang Chen with a grim expression, spit it out, where is the chrono, dust. Fang Chen's mind whirred as he calculated his next move. I know a mysterious individual who is selling chrono, dust. If you need it, senior, I can arrange the purchase for you. If the old man had a physical ailment, he likely needed the item desperately. With this leverage, Fang Chen felt he had a decent shot at escaping today. But the elder's next words sent a chill straight through Fang Chen's soul, as if he'd been plunged into an abyss of ice. I don't need it, I'm just curious how chrono, dust even ended up in the Taking Grand Province in the first place. Since you clearly don't know anything, Fang Chen's heart skipped a violent beat. Having witnessed the cold-blooded ruthlessness of Venerable Evil Crow, he knew all too well how insignificant his life was to someone of this rank. To a Venerable, killing him was no different than crushing an annoying bug. He shouted frantically, Senior, have mercy. The red-faced elder laughed. Give me one good reason why I should show you mercy. Fang Chen's mind raced at light speed. I can move the sky-touching black pillar. It might actually come in handy when the ancient giants descend one day. The red-faced elder looked stunned. So you're the kid who hauled the sky-touching black pillar from the mainland all the way to White Horse Temple. Well, this is a surprise. A real surprise indeed. That's not a good enough reason. Whether you moved it or not, it won't stop the ancient giants from coming. He tapped his finger on the table, studying Fang Chen with newfound interest. I'll give you one more shot. Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat. Even that wasn't enough. He watched the red-faced old man's finger tap faster and faster. The man was clearly losing patience. Fang Chen's stomach sank. He couldn't think of a single argument that would convince a Venerable to let him walk away based on words alone. Should he trade his magical artifacts for his life? No, that was like drinking poison to quench a thirst. The more he gave, the more they'd want, and he'd end up dead anyway. Fang Chen had a sudden flash of inspiration. Senior, do you know about the ancient desolation token? The red-faced elder's finger froze midair. A look of deep regret crossed his face. We were so close. The Central Plains world missed its one chance to change its destiny. Fang Chen's eyes flickered. What if I told you the ancient desolation token isn't actually lost? The red-faced elder bolted upright, his eyes wide, unable to hide his shock. But he quickly composed himself. How could you know that? The demon avatar snatched it. Venerable Mantra and Venerable Heart. Bane saw it with their own eyes. Are you saying they were wrong? Fang Chen asked, Senior, have you heard the name of the person who took first place on the ancient road to heaven? The red-faced elder looked stunned. Wait, don't tell me it was you again. Fang Chen bowed slightly. It was indeed me. The red-faced elder paced around Fang Chen, eyeing him up and down in sheer disbelief. What the hell? How is it always you? You're the one who provided the long, lost Phoenix Feather 9 Flames fan. You moved the sky-touching black pillar, and you topped the ancient road to heaven. Where on earth did you come from? Fang Chen muttered to himself. My mom, obviously. It's not like I popped out of a rock. Senior, the Venerable at the end of the ancient road to heaven, told me that the ancient desolation token was the only way to save the Central Land Realm. So I made sure it wasn't stolen. The red-faced elder's face lit up with excitement. If Fang Chen knew the instructions given by the Venerable at the end of the ancient road to heaven, he wasn't lying. Show me the command token, now. Fang Chen hesitated. He secretly messaged Little Killen, telling it to bring the ancient desolation token, but hide the heavenly thunderstone underground first. He still had to be careful with this old man. Soon, Little Killen trotted over, holding a pale yellow, ancient-looking command token in its mouth. The red-faced elder snatched it up, turning it over in his hands. His old eyes were filled with pure joy. It really is the ancient desolation token. But then what did the demon avatar take? Fang Chen told the truth, a handful of memory silver sand. I knew things were going south, so I tucked the real command token into my spatial storage artifact and kept a fake one on me. The demon avatar grabbed the fake. It didn't have time to check because the Venerables were all over it. I don't know what happened after that. After Fairy Cloud Raiment rescued him, he had bolted. He wasn't sure how the rest of the battle played out. When the red-faced elder realized the demon avatar had made off with nothing but memory silver sand, he sat there dazed for a moment before bursting into laughter. No wonder that demon avatar tried so hard to break back through the barrier after it left. You played him, kid. It spent so long planning this, even sending the ancient road to heaven into the central land realm just to get its hands on the ancient desolation token. It calculated everything, but it didn't count on a black-hearted little brat from our Central Plains world, swiping the prize right from under its nose. If I were him, I'd probably be even more pissed.
Fang Chen was speechless. Senior, are you complimenting me or insulting me?
The red-faced elder looked at Fang Chen again, and this time he actually seemed to like what he saw. You little con artist? You're ruthless to your own people, but you're even worse to your enemies. I'll let you off the hook this time. Those were the exact words Fang Chen had been waiting for. He felt like he'd just been granted a royal pardon. Seeing the red-faced elder in a good mood, Fang Chen's eyes darted around as he began to play the victim.
It's just such a shame about my box of memory silver sand. It was my only treasure.
I've sacrificed so much for this Central Plains world. The red-faced elder was far too clever for that. He knew exactly what this little shark was digging for. Stop crying poor. You managed to snatch the Netherworld Ghost Fire from under the noses of so many experts. Don't tell me you don't have other treasures hidden away. If nothing else, that little spirit pet of yours is clearly something special. Fang Chen gave a brilliant smile. Man, you venerables are really hard to fool. To his delight, the red-faced elder pulled the sacred flame order from his sleeve and tossed it back. Take it. Fang Chen caught it quickly, shooting back with a snarky clapback. Much appreciated, senior. Thanks for returning what was already mine. He wasn't about to let this venerable get away with passing off his own property as some kind of reward. The red-faced elder caught the attitude immediately. He let out a sharp, annoyed laugh. You little brat, you really know how to play the room, don't you? You're betting I won't touch you, so you're giving me sass now. Fang Chen quickly played it off. I wouldn't dream of it, senior. In truth, he'd sensed from the start that the venerable didn't actually want him dead. If he did, the moment he recognized Fang Chen, he could have blasted his soul into oblivion with a wave of his hand rather than bringing him back for questioning. The venerable just wanted to teach him a lesson. Now that the ancient desolation token was in play, the elder didn't even mention the lesson and gave back the sacred flame order. His change in attitude was crystal clear. Venerable Red Lotus snorted in annoyance. You even managed to play the great sage demon shaman. Is there anything you don't dare to do? I'm starting to wonder, if you met an ancient saint, would you try to scam them too? Fang Chen waved his hands frantically. No, absolutely not. I have nothing but the deepest admiration and genuine fear for the ancient saint. I would never be so disrespectful. Boom, a bolt of lightning tore through the sky, pierced the earth, and slammed into the underground palace. It struck right next to Fang Chen, scorching a fist-sized hole into the reinforced floor. Fang Chen froze. Venerable Red Lotus was just as stunned, his eyes widening. What the hell did you do to an ancient saint? They actually noticed you. Plenty of people talk trash about the ancient saints behind their backs, but when have they ever actually bothered to respond? I'm being framed. Fang Chen opened his mouth, dying to vent about the series of unfair treatments he'd suffered at the hands of the ancient saint, but he bit his tongue to avoid being struck by lightning again. He simply sighed. I guess that's just the ancient saint's special way of showing me love. Venerable Red Lotus snapped out of it, not daring to dig deeper into the subject of the ancient saint. Looking at Fang Chen, who was still only at the 2-aperture Nascent Soul, he flicked a finger, sending a wisp of energy straight into Fang Chen's gut. A sudden, piercing agony washed over him. This wasn't a physical pain, it was vibrating deep within his nascent soul. Then a sharp crack echoed, like something brittle shattering. Fang Chen quickly checked his inner state and was hit with a wave of joy. The outline of the 3rd aperture had been effortlessly forced open by the elder. A massive surge of power of the nascent soul flooded out from the 3rd aperture, causing his overall energy to double instantly. Thank you, senior, Fang Chen said, beaming as he bowed in gratitude. Venerable Red Lotus scoffed. I only get a thank you after I give you a handout, you greedy little mercenary. He tossed the ancient desolation token back to Fang Chen. With your current strength, you'd be a snack in the desolate ancient hunt. Get stronger and fast. The hunt is coming. The desolate ancient hunt. It's close. Fang Chen was a bit surprised. He'd assumed the Venerable would take the ancient desolation token for himself. After a moment of thought, he asked, Senior, if this token is such a big deal, why not give it to someone with a better chance? Venerable Red Lotus stared at him. I'd like to, but I have no jurisdiction over the affairs of the Taking Grand Province. Just focus on getting stronger. If your power isn't enough to secure a victory in the desolate ancient hunt, someone will come for that token and hand it to someone more worthy. Who would come for him? Setting the red-faced elder aside, did anyone else even know he had the token? And if this venerable wasn't from the Taking Grand Province, where did he come from? He shook his head, pushing the thoughts aside. Senior, you're a really good guy. Venerable Red Lotus scoffed again. Any other venerable would have squashed a shady little dealer like you into a pulp long ago.
But Fang Chen's next words nearly made the elder lose his cool.
Fang Chen added, well, since you're such a good guy, why not go all the way and forge a spiritual artifact for me? I don't need much. Just a supreme grade spirit artifact will do.
Without a word, Venerable Red Lotus kicked the stone door open and launched Fang Chen out with a swift kick.
Get lost. Don't let me see your face again. He'd met plenty of shameless people in his life, but someone this pathologically brazen was a first.
You want me to forge for you a supreme grade spirit artifact in your dreams?
Fang Chen went flying out of the underground palace. If he hadn't been agile enough to twist in midair, he would have face planted into the dirt. He rubbed his backside, pouting. Fine, don't forge it then. No need to be dramatic. But when he looked up, he saw the fire worship, Sect Master, Fairy Kainlin, and Perfected Yun Huo all standing there. They stared at him in pure shock. Perfected Yun Huo looked particularly bewildered. What just happened? Fang Chen straightened his clothes, his face perfectly calm. The senior insisted on personally seeing me out. He was a little overenthusiastic with the sen off, but I've decided to forgive him. Perfected Yun Huo didn't question it, though he looked skeptical. I owe you one, Yun Huo said gratefully. If it wasn't for you, I would have died in that fire pillar. He still felt a chill of fear just thinking about it. The moment he heard the senior had taken Fang Chen, he'd rushed over, even planning to go inside and beg for mercy on his behalf. Fairy Kainlin was currently weighing a massive cleaver in her hand. Yun Huo, say what you need to say quickly, because I'm about to hack this brat to pieces. She glared at Fang Chen, practically vibrating with rage. Perfected Yun Huo gave a dry cough. Junior sister Kainlin, calm down. Having a son this old saves you years of parenting trouble. Fairy Kainlin's brows arched sharply as she raised the cleaver, looking ready to chop him down right along with Fang Chen. Perfected Yun Huo spoke up quickly. All right, I'm finishing up right now. He pulled a crystal sphere from his sleeve. Inside, a tiny green flame flickered silently. This is a source fire, unique to my fire worship cult. It has the power to trigger a heavenly tribulation. Take it back to the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. He had intended to save it for one of his own disciples, but now he had no choice but to use it to settle his debt to Fang Chen. A tribulation opportunity. Fang Chen's face lit up with excitement. With the ancient giants descending upon the world, opportunities like this were becoming scarce. Even a powerhouse like Song Lingyu had resorted to playing dead like a total deadbeat just to avoid her debts. That alone proved how precious this was. Don't mention it, Perfected Yun Huo said. Even though it pained him to give it up, these worldly possessions meant nothing compared to his life. Fang Chen hesitated for a moment before finally accepting it. He cupped his hands in respect. Senior Yun Huo, when the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion holds its grand sect founding ceremony, you and Fairy Kainlin must attend. I'll have a significant gift waiting for you both. He planned to give them a dragon marrow seed to help them push their cultivation to the next level. Before Perfected Yun Huo could even agree, Fairy Kainlin's massive cleaver came swinging toward him. You think you're going back to the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. The only way you're going back is in a body bag. Fang Chen let out a laugh, quickly scooped up little Qilin, and grabbed his hidden Heavenly Thunderstone. In a flash, he activated Shadow in the clouds and bolted. The fire worship Sect Master reached out, wanting to stop Fang Chen and ask about the Nether Ghost Fire, but he hesitated and pulled back. If even the senior couldn't hold onto it, what hope did he have of getting it back from Fang Chen? It was a shame to lose such a powerful, sacred flame. Outside the fire worship sect market, Junior Sister Yu. Stop looking back. This is out of your hands now. Ma Qingyan urged Yu Qiyuan, who kept glancing over her shoulder. They had watched several powerful experts chase Fang Chen into the heart of the fire worship cult, and he hadn't emerged since. After asking around, they learned that a mysterious senior had taken Fang Chen away. Yu Qiyuan bit her lip, her heart heavy with worry. Fang Chen didn't have a powerful background to back him up. He was bound to be taken advantage of. Noticing her expression, Ma Qingyan spoke with a hint of reproach. You should worry about yourself instead. You're returning without a single spark of the sacred flame. If I were Master Qi, I wouldn't see any reason to grant you another chance at crossing the tribulation. You'll likely be stuck at the heretical Nascent Soul realm for the rest of your life. When we get back, find an excuse to get on Master Qi Yin's good side and ask for a quiet assignment. Just live out your days in peace. Don't wait for him to come to you. If he does, it'll be embarrassing for everyone." Yuki-Yuan lowered her head in silence. Elders never kept disciples with no hope of crossing the tribulation by their side for long. They would eventually be shipped off to manage the sea, end pavilions, markets, mines, or secret realms. Since Yuki-Yuan hadn't even brought back a sliver of the sacred flame, Master Ki-Yin would likely be completely disappointed in her. Instead of waiting to be cast aside by Master Ki-Yin, it was better to request a transfer herself. It was an unspoken understanding, a way for both sides to save face. The other disciples' eyes dimmed. Those who once envied Yuki-Yuan's chance to transcend couldn't even bring themselves to gloat. Because Yuki-Yuan's reality today would be the reality for most of them tomorrow. Core Formation Realm, 9th level perfection, was the ultimate dead end for most of Heaven's chosen. Junior Sister Yu, if only you hadn't given away that sacred flame order. Master Ki-Yin always thought highly of you. Maybe you would have had another tribulation opportunity. There's no use talking about that now. Junior Sister Yu, being reassigned isn't a bad way to live. At least you won't have to constantly stress over crossing the tribulation. We'll probably all end up joining you eventually. You're just the first one to go. Hearing their attempts at comfort only made Yuki-Yuan feel worse. But she didn't regret her choice. At least her conscience was clear. She didn't owe anyone anything. Thanks, everyone. I'm okay. Just then, a bolt of lightning streaked across the sky above them. Fang Chen rushed toward them from a distance. Senior Sister Yu, wait. Yuki-Yuan looked up, a smile of pure relief spreading across her face. You're safe. Now I can truly stop worrying.
The elder leading the Sea End Pavilion party looked at Fang Chen with a cold, expressionless face. Is this some kind of compensation for my disciple? He asked sarcastically.
It was obvious he was bitter about Fang Chen taking Yuki-Yuan's sacred flame order. He clearly didn't want him there. Fang Chen cupped his hands. Senior, please allow me a few words with Senior Sister Yu. Yuki-Yuan looked at the elder pleadingly. He huffed, make it quick.
Yuki-Yuan hurried over, her voice full of concern. Did that senior from the fire worship cult give you a hard time?
How bad is the injury from that strike by the Sect Master of the Great Yin sect?
If I'd known the sacred flame order would cause you this much trouble, I never would have given it to you. Fang Chen looked at the kind-hearted girl before him, a warm smile spreading across his face. Senior Sister Yu, start living for yourself for a change. I hope you can safely make it through the coming chaos, when the ancient giants descend. A sense of finality in his voice, as if they were parting forever, sent a pang through Yuki-Yuan's heart. She choked back a sob. Junior brother Fang, you too. Take care of yourself. This goodbye felt heavy. It might be the last time they ever saw each other. Fang Chen sighed softly. Let me give you a parting gift. Hold out your hand. A glimmer of a smile reached Yuki-Yuan's eyes. A surprise, for me. She held out her hand. Fang Chen pressed 2 items into her palm. Before she could look, he closed her fingers over them. Wait until I'm gone to see what they are. Lightning crackled around him as he gave a final, smiling wave. Take care. Until we meet again in the world, Senior Sister Yu. With that, he vanished into a bolt of lightning. Yuki-Yuan stood frozen, tears blurring her vision. So many people said they'd meet again, but again rarely ever came. Ma Qingyan shook his head. He leaves Junior Sister Yu in this state and just walks away like it's nothing. Yuki-Yuan wiped her tears. A sharp prick against her palm made her realize something was sticking out of her clenched fist, a glint of gold. She opened her hand, her eyes widening in pure shock. A pair of tiny, gleaming golden shears and a small flame encased in crystal lay in her palm. The lead elder caught a glimpse and gasped. The golden flood dragon shears, one of our sect's 3 great divine treasures, didn't Master Ki-Yin lose this in the deity transformation ruins? Fang Chen actually recovered it for us. And that, the elder looked at the flame realization dawning, the source fire of the fire worship cult. A fortuitous opportunity that can trigger the heavenly tribulation. He gave you something that valuable. The elder was in utter disbelief. This source fire alone is a tribulation opportunity that 10 sacred flame orders couldn't buy. With her cultivation, the mediocre sacred flames she'd find would only be enough to please Master Ki-Yin. Whether she'd ever find another tribulation opportunity was purely up to luck. But now, Fang Chen has handed her a tribulation opportunity on a silver platter. Ma Qingyan's eyes nearly popped out. He just gave away a tribulation opportunity, just like that. Even biological siblings wouldn't be this generous. When he saw the golden flood dragon shears,
He lost his composure even more. His expression complex.
Junior sister, you has done the sect a massive service by bringing back the golden flood dragon shears.
She can use her merit to borrow the reversed scale armor of Desolate Smoke. It's incredibly effective against Tribulation Lightning, increasing her survival rate by 50%. That must be why Junior Brother Fang gave it to you. He wants to make sure you reach the Nascent Soul realm before the great disaster strikes, giving you a real fighting chance to survive. Hearing this, the disciples at the Core Formation realm, 9th level perfection, felt a bitter pang of envy and regret. Back when Fang Chen didn't have a sacred flame order, they'd considered giving him theirs to secure a favor. But in the end, they chose to gamble on their own luck to claim a sacred flame. Only, Yu Qiuan had handed hers to Fang Chen without a second thought. And in return, Fang Chen had repaid her 100-fold. A wave of deep regret washed over everyone present.
Ma Qingyan wiped his face hard. If he'd just been a bit more generous, surely Fang Chen wouldn't have left him empty-handed.
He had blamed Yu Qiuan, certain she would regret her choice. Now, he was the one drowning in regret. The lead elder looked on with envy, patting Yu Qiuan's shoulder. I wish I'd had a friend like that in my day.
Yu Qiuan clutched the two magical artifacts, feeling Fang Chen's quiet care for her. Silent tears began to fall.
Junior Brother Fang, she whispered. Meanwhile, back to Fang Chen. He searched the city for a while, but couldn't find a trace of Hua Wang. Does she really think she can run away? Fang Chen chuckled.
She could run, but she couldn't hide forever.
Since the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion hadn't arrived yet, it was the perfect time to pay a visit to the Sanctuary of Myriad Tribulations and collect his debt. Activating the shadow in the clouds, he sped off toward the Sanctuary of Myriad Tribulations. Just as he was about to leave the territory of the fire worship cult, the depths of the sky suddenly blazed crimson, as if an inferno vast enough to eclipse the sun was raging across the heavens. For thousands of miles in every direction, the sky was a blood-red canvas, bathing the world below in a hellish, fiery glow. A crushing wave of heat slammed down. In an instant, his clothes and hair were incinerated, and the searing temperature scorched his skin, leaving it blistered and cracked.
He was stunned. I have a 3. Aperture Nascent Soul, yet my body is cracking from this heat. What kind of temperature is this? What's happening? Why is there such a massive celestial phenomenon? Could it be the ancient giants are descending?
As Fang Chen's heart pounded with shock, a colossal fireball burned through the heavens, plummeting toward the earth at an unbelievable speed.
The sheer force of its descent was apocalyptic, like two worlds colliding.
A chill ran down Fang Chen's spine. But to his absolute horror, the fireball wasn't just falling, it was heading straight for him. He wasn't about to stand there and wait. He instantly used shadow in the clouds, teleporting out of sight in a flash. But to his disbelief, the fireball immediately changed course, still hurtling right at him. Fang Chen used shadow in the clouds again, but the fireball adjusted its trajectory once more. It was as if he'd been locked on as a target.
What the hell is going on? Is this your doing, you old hag?
The only answer was a bolt of lightning that seared the ground beside him, as if to say, if it were me, you'd already be ash. If it's not the ancient saint, then it must be something from beyond the heavens. But why is it coming for me?
No time to think. Fang Chen desperately used shadow in the clouds, fleeing at breakneck speed, but the colossal fireball behind him just kept getting closer.
There was no escape. Fang Chen shoved a handful of rejuvenation pills into his mouth, and with a final curse, was obliterated by the impact.
Meanwhile, at the border of the fire worship cult's territory.
Are you really going to sneak off like this? Yun Qi asked, looking at Hua Wang, who was furtively hiding among a group of their fellow disciples.
Hua Wang, her face half hidden by a wide, brimmed hat, wrinkled her nose. What else am I supposed to do? Wait for him to sell me off?
You have no idea how ruthless that guy is. Yun Qi shot her a sideways glance, eyeing the Nascent Soul realm aura swirling around her. Look at you, complaining after getting such a sweet deal, she said sourly. If you don't want to be the one to pay off his debt, I'd happily take your place.
Hua Wang shot her an irritated glare.
Oh, so all you see is the upside, huh? Where was she supposed to complain about the title she'd earned from this, the debt-repaying fairy? It was a stain on her reputation that would last a lifetime. Just then, the sky suddenly turned crimson. The heavens for thousands of miles looked as if they had been set ablaze, and a terrifying wave of heat washed over them. Luckily, they were on the very edge of the phenomenon, so the heat was bearable. With lightning, fast reflexes, Hua Wang unleashed her power of the Nascent Soul, creating a shield around herself and Yun Qi. It was just in time to spare them the humiliating fate of having their clothes and hair incinerated.
Yuan Qi gasped, "What is that? Look at the size of that fireball."
Before their eyes, a massive fireball was streaking across the sky, plunging toward the distant earth at an astonishing speed. It slammed into the ground with devastating force, and a colossal pillar of fire erupted upwards, soaring thousands of feet into the sky. A violent earthquake followed, along with a rolling shockwave of scorching heat.
Everyone present, except for those of the Nascent Soul realm and the disciples they shielded, was thrown violently into the air. When the shockwave finally subsided, their eyes fell upon a boundless sea of fire and thick, black smoke billowing from the point of impact.
Yuan Qi stared, completely stunned, Wang, what just happened? Hua Wang was just as shaken. It looks like something fell from the sky.
Yuan Qi's eyes lit up. Let's go check it out.
Hua Wang immediately shook her head. No way. What if there's something dangerous in there? I just barely escaped my creditor. I'm not about to jump from the frying pan into the fire, she said cautiously. Yuan Qi considered this. But what if it's a fortuitous opportunity? Everyone knows that things that fall from the sky are always treasures. Hua Wang was tempted. She hesitated for a moment, then said, "All right, we'll take a look from a distance. The second things look bad, we run."
Yuan Qi nodded eagerly, linking her arm through Hua Wang's as they headed toward the crash site.
Soon they arrived at the edge of a massive circular crater, thousands of feet across. Black smoke billowed from within, the soil was scorched black, and waves of searing heat rolled out from the center. There's something at the center. Yuan Qi spotted it first. It looks like two people, and they're completely burned.
Hua Wang was ready to back out. That's not an opportunity. Let's go now.
But Yuan Qi insisted. Wait. These are people who fell from the sky, just like that woman from the White Horse Temple. If we bring them back, it'll be a huge contribution. You could get the chance to open your next aperture, and I might get another tribulation opportunity.
Hua Wang hesitated. Her instincts screamed at her to run, but with Yuan Qi's constant prodding, she reluctantly made her way to the center of the crater. Upon closer inspection, they saw two charred bodies. From their shapes, it was a man and a woman.
The woman was clinging tightly to the man's back. Incredibly, both of their life forces were still terrifyingly strong. Despite being burned to a crisp, they were somehow still alive.
The man in particular was making a faint cracking sound as his charred skin began to regenerate.
Yuan Qi pushed Hua Wang forward. Wang, quick, check on the man. I think he's coming to.
Hua Wang shot her a glare over her shoulder. So the one with the nascent soul is supposed to be the human shield. Is that it? She hesitantly approached the man and carefully reached out, gently wiping away a piece of flaking, charred skin from his face. She muttered to herself, "Let's see what someone from beyond the heavens looks like." My master said the woman at the White Horse Temple had horns, but as the face beneath the char was revealed, a face fairer than any woman's, Hua Wang froze, as if she'd been struck by lightning. Yuan Qi was stunned too. Rubbing her eyes, she stammered, "Wang, this person from the sky, he looks just like Fang Chen."
Hua Wang's heart skipped a beat. It's not just a resemblance. She knew every detail of Fang Chen's face. Every line, every pore. This outworlder was no mistake. It was the man himself. She yanked her hand back like she'd been electrocuted and bolted. She didn't get far. A massive hand clamped onto her ankle, nearly sending her face planting into the dirt. She looked back, horrified. Her mind went completely blank. Fang Chen's eyes were wide open. He looked dazed, his gaze drifting between her and Yuan Qi. "I'm not dead." Right then, the air shimmered, and little Kilin reappeared with the heavenly thunderstone clamped in its jaws. Turns out the little beast had sensed the danger and ghosted the scene immediately, avoiding the literal roasting Fang Chen had endured. Fang Chen's head cleared instantly. He bolted upright. A wave of agony washed over him. He'd only survived because he'd downed a handful of rejuvenation pills just in time. Otherwise, he might not have woken up at all. He felt a heavy weight pressing against his back. When he turned to look, he nearly let out a high-pitched shriek. There was a woman, burnt to a crisp like a piece of charcoal, clinging to him for dear life. "Who the hell is this? I thought I got hit by a fireball." He scrambled to peel the charred woman off. She was burnt beyond recognition. Her face was a featureless mask of soot and ash. And yet her life force was terrifyingly potent. There wasn't a single hint of weakness in her. Fang Chen was floored. He couldn't wrap his head around what had just happened. 1 second he's being chased by a fireball, then a massive explosion, and now he wakes up with this woman literally attached to him. Wait, was the fireball actually this woman? She had fallen from the heavens.
Fang Chen glanced at her scorched, bald head. No horns, no scales. She looked perfectly human. Who was she, really? He hesitated, then pulled out a rejuvenation pill and pressed it to her lips. He'd save her first, then get some answers. Crackle, as the pill took effect, fresh skin began to knit together, shedding the burnt crust to reveal a powerful, porcelain, white physique beneath. Hua Wang's face turned bright red, and she quickly looked away. Yun Qi, however, just covered her face with her hands while peeking through the gaps between her fingers.
Senior Fang is so pale, she whispered, way paler than you.
Hua Wang stomped on her foot, her face flushing even deeper. Have you no shame? Stop ogling Fang Chen.
Finally realizing he was exposed, Fang Chen scrambled to throw on a robe.
He reached out and gave Hua Wang's cheek a sharp, annoyed pinch. You were pretty quick to run, weren't you? What happened? Change your mind.
Hua Wang looked like she was about to burst into tears. She had successfully escaped, only to circle right back and deliver herself to him on a silver platter.
If she hadn't come back to snoop around for a fortuitous opportunity, she wouldn't be in this mess.
Thinking of that, she shot a murderous glare at Yun Qi. You little brat, you ruined me, I'm going to kill you.
She raised a fist, ready to punch her friend into the next province.
Yun Qi stuck her tongue out and ducked behind Fang Chen. Senior Fang, quick, use your chains and bind her. Don't let her run away again.
I actually have some sect business to take care of. Catch you later, bye.
Realizing she'd kicked a hornet's nest, she activated her fleeing tactic and vanished. Hua Wang was so livid she could have spat blood. They were supposed to just watch from a distance. Now her friend was gone, and she was stuck. Fang Chen grinned at her. So, you want to tie yourself up, or should I do it for you?
Hua Wang's shoulders slumped in defeat. I'll do it myself, she whimpered.
Beep, beep, beep. Suddenly, her sanctuary of myriad tribulations, identity token, began to pulse.
At the same moment, the identity token on Fang Chen's belt lit up. Both of their tokens were sounding off simultaneously. He checked the message. Glowing text appeared: Directorate of Astronomy Bulletin, a new sect. The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion has been established at Green Lai Mountain. Disciple recruitment begins in 5 days. Hua Wang looked at Fang Chen in shock. Senior, is that your Heavenly Secrets Pavilion? Fang Chen frowned. Does everyone in the Taking Grand Province get these alerts?
Hua Wang shook her head. No, just those with an identity token in a major sect.
Any power that wants to establish a presence in the Taking Grand Province has to register with the Directorate of Astronomy first.
Then, the Directorate broadcasts the news to all the major sects. It clicked. No wonder the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion told him to invite Fairy Kyanlan and perfected Yunhuo without giving them a location. The Directorate of Astronomy handled the logistics. Still, setting up the new pavilion of Heavenly Secrets at Green Lai Mountain was bold. He'd recently killed several White Bone Alliance elders and humiliated Jiao Huangyan. This was going to be a headache. No matter, he'd deal with it when he got there. He scooped up the charred woman, tossed her over his shoulder with a look of mild disgust, and took to the skies on a summoned cloud. Hua Wang's face fell as he silently jumped up. Meanwhile, a blazing golden light erupted above the White Horse Temple, and a breathtaking presence descended into the Grand Hall. Abbot Puguang, the demons, Abduing Protector, Vajraphayan, and the rest of the eminent monks gathered at the front of the hall to respectfully welcome the Bodhisattva's return. Abbot Puguang stepped forward, concern etched on his face. Bodhisattva, what is the situation up above? The Bodhisattva's voice echoed from within the hall. It was deep, measured, and gentle as always, yet carrying a faint, undeniable trace of weakness. It was a trap. We suffered a crushing defeat. The hearts of the gathered monks pounded like war drums. 3 soul transformation experts and 1 bodhisattva, the absolute strongest lineup in the Taking Grand Province. What in the world had they encountered? Unless they faced an entire army of ancient giants, nothing should have been able to scratch them. Abbot Puguang's voice tightened with worry. Are you injured, Bodhisattva? The Bodhisattva's voice drifted out, laced with a heavy exhaustion. Abbot Puguang breathed a slight sigh of relief before pressing further. And what of the other 3 venerables? The Bodhisattva fell silent for a moment before speaking. Venerable Evil Crow escaped unharmed, but he lost his deity transformation corpse. A ripple of shock went through the eminent monks to think Venerable Evil Crow had been hiding a yin corpse at the deity transformation realm. Had they not faced absolute disaster, he likely never would have revealed it. Venerable Heart Demon suffered aggravated injuries. His combat strength is severely crippled, and he will be in no condition to fight when the time comes in 3 months. Everyone's hearts plummeted. The Taking Grand Province was already weak compared to the other Grand Provinces, and now their overall strength had taken yet another massive hit. But what truly drained the color from their faces was the fate of Venerable Mantra. Her divine halo had shattered, and her survival was completely unknown. What this crushing defeat the Bodhisattva spoke of was unimaginably severe. One lightly wounded, one stripped of a divine weapon, one severely injured, and one missing in action. When the ancient giants descended in 3 months, what could they possibly use to hold the line? Abbot Puguang's fingers flew over his prayer beads, his anxiety laid bare. Bodhisattva, how did Venerable Mantra suffer such a fate? The Bodhisattva's voice was laden with sorrow. She posed too great a threat. It forced a 5-star giant king to personally strike her down.
A deathly silence claimed the entire hall.
No wonder the Bodhisattva and the others had barely made it back. They hadn't just run into a giant king, they had faced a 5-star entity. A standard giant king was already equivalent to a venerable, or someone in the Bodhisattva realm from the Taking Grand Province. A 5-star giant king, however, held power rivaling a great venerable who had entered the realm of the 5 decays of heaven and man. Out of their 4-man team, only Venerable Evil Crow had reached the first celestial decay. The other 3 hadn't even triggered their decay tribulation yet. How could they possibly stand against a 5-star giant king? The only reason we made it back, the Bodhisattva continued, is because Venerable Mantra detonated the Phoenix Feather 9 Flames fan, barricading the 5-star giant king's path. But she was caught in her own desperate detonation, and her fate remains unknown. The Bodhisattva's words hung heavy in the air. The assembled monks were struck speechless, an icy wave of absolute despair washing over them at the news. Vajraphayan finally broke the silence, his voice barely above a whisper. Bodhisattva, what are we to do when those 3 months are up?
The hall stretched into a long, suffocating silence before a heavy sigh echoed from within.
May the heavens have mercy on us all.
Vajraphayan's eyes trembled.
The meaning was terrifyingly clear. Even the Bodhisattva was utterly powerless to stop what was coming. The people of this world were on their own. 2 days later, atop an unremarkable peak at the very tail-end of the Green Lai mountain range, several palaces, constructed years prior, stood proudly at the summit. Demon Emperor Nuxin stared up at the blank Sect Gate Tower. Pavilion Master, why leave the sign blank? Why not carve the name of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion? The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion stood with his hands clasped behind his back, a knowing smile on his face. We leave it for Fang Chen. He is the one carrying on the legacy of our predecessors. The name of the new Pavilion of Heavenly Secrets should be carved by his hand alone. Yu Mingzhu wandered over, taking in their surroundings. A subtle, iridescent 7-colored light shimmered in the depths of her eyes. She smiled. You truly have an eye for location, Pavilion Master. We're at the very edge of the mountain range, and the ambient spiritual energy here is incredibly thin, but it secretly harbors objects of great fortune. If my guess is right, there must be a rich vein of crystal ore buried right beneath our feet. She had already made solid progress cultivating the Imperial Kai observation technique. Her newfound ability to read the flow of worldly fortune allowed her to instantly spot the hidden value of this unassuming mountain. The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion chuckled softly. As long as Sect Master, you doesn't mind setting up in the Green Lai Mountain, I am more than relieved. Fairy Cloud, raiment floated over, her white robes fluttering in the mountain breeze. The Green Lai Mountain is the perfect choice, she agreed. There's nothing wrong with it at all. The Taking Grand Province may be boundless, but every famous peak and blessed spirit vein has long been claimed. And while the Sanctuary of Myriad Tribulations acts as the pavilion's protector, no sleeping lion allows another beast to rest by its side. Building too close to their domain would be unwise. That leaves only the Green Lai Mountain. It's crawling with rogue cultivators, making it the ultimate foothold for a new, outside faction to set up shop. The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion nodded in approval. Fairy Cloud, raiment hit the nail on the head. The very first priority for the new Pavilion of Heavenly Secrets is simple survival. Expansion comes later. Their foundation is far too shallow to afford even a single mistake. They have to tread carefully and build their strength piece by piece. Liu Qingxian strolled up, her face brimming with eager anticipation. Everything is set. Now, all we have to do is wait for Fang Chen to return. Right at that moment, a motley crew of martial artists, clad in all sorts of mismatched attire, hurried up the mountain path. Their ages varied wildly, but the vast majority of them were at the 8th or 9th level of the core formation realm. There was a massive crowd, well over 100 strong. It was essentially every powerful rogue cultivator from Green Lai Mountain. Faced with such a lineup, even the master of the heavenly secret pavilion couldn't afford to be careless. A hint of wariness flashed across his face as he asked, "What is the meaning of this?" Leading the group was a man radiating a nascent soul aura, a heretical nascent soul. He looked like a rogue cultivator who had attempted crossing the tribulation and failed. His sharp gaze swept over the master of the heavenly secret pavilion, Fairy Cloud, Raiment, and Demon Emperor Nuxin, his pupils constricting slightly. He smiled. "I am Wang Yuandao. Greetings, seniors. We heard the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion was being established here, and came to offer our congratulations." "Just congratulations." The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion gave a slight nod. "It's a bit early for our grand opening, but I appreciate the gesture." Wang Yuandao cupped his hands. "Actually, on behalf of the Green Lai Mountain Rogue Cultivators, I have a small, perhaps overstepping, request. We hope the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion will take us in and allow us to become members of the sect." The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion frowned. He had expected them to show up in a mob for a reason, but he hadn't expected them to be this blunt. "Fairy Cloud, Raiment sent a telepathic message, Master. We can't accept them." The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion nodded subtly and replied, "I know. We're the outsiders, they're the local rogue cultivators. If they swarm into the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion all at once, they'll hijack the place. We'll lose control of our own house. Besides, they'll burn through our resources in no time. That's their real goal in coming here in a mob." The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion gave a polite refusal. "Everyone, our recruitment begins in 3 days. If you wish to join then, we will put you through our screening process. Only those who qualify will be admitted. For now, please head back." Wang Yuandao smiled and produced a jade slip. "Seniors, you're new here, so you might not know the rules of Green Lai Mountain. Anyone establishing a sect here must give priority to local rogue cultivators. This is the 3 Pure Ones Mountains jade letter. Please have a look." The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion's expression tightened. Mount Sanking, Green Lai Mountain, was on their border, but it wasn't under their jurisdiction. What right did they have to call the shots here? Quickly, the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion realized the deeper game at play. A fractured Green Lai Mountain was no threat to Mount Sanking, but a unified one was. They didn't want any sects rising in Green Lai Mountain, so they backed the locals to make life a living hell for anyone trying to build one. This was exactly why Green Lai Mountain had never had a sect before. Fairy Cloud, Raiment, and Demon Emperor Nuxin also knit their brows, sensing the trap. If they accepted them, the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion would be cannibalized from the inside. If they refused, Mount Sanking would have an excuse to step in. At that point, before the sect could even find its footing, they'd be going head to head with one of the 7 great cults. This was going to be a nightmare to navigate. Sensing he had the upper hand, Wang Yuandao spoke with smug confidence. "So, are you planning to defy the orders of Mount Sanking?" Right then, a bolt of lightning slammed into the ground right in front of Wang Yuandao. The massive shockwave sent Wang Yuandao and the aggressive crowd behind him tumbling to the ground. As the lightning faded, Fang Chen appeared. He snatched the 3 Pure Ones Mountains jade letter and crushed it into dust with a casual squeeze. "Mount Sanking has no authority over my Heavenly Secrets Pavilion." This was ridiculous. Mount Sanking was overstepping its bounds. Not content with reaching into the 4 seas, they now wanted to interfere with the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion being built in a remote corner like Green Lai Mountain. They actually sent a jade letter ordering the sect to take in every rogue cultivator in the region. Pure arrogance. Wang Yuandao scrambled to his feet. Staring at the shattered remains of the jade letter, he put on an act of fearful awe. "Senior, you destroyed a decree from Mount Sanking. Are you planning to stage a rebellion?" Fang Chen glared at him, eyes cold. "You're waving that scrap of paper like it's a divine decree. Do you really think the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion is some soft target you can bully?" Wang Yuandao avoided his gaze, maintaining a facade of respectful defiance. "Not at all. I am merely following orders from Mount Sanking. If I've upset you, Senior, I apologize." Fang Chen stepped forward, grabbed him by the collar, and then scanned the rest of the crowd with a sneer. "You all want to follow Mount Sanking's orders so badly. How about I send you to the White Bone Alliance? They're right here in Green Lai Mountain too. I'm sure they'd love to have you." At the mention of the White Bone Alliance, several rogue cultivators at the 9th level of core formation began to shake. Even Wang Yuand's body trembled. When the White Bone Alliance was first established, they had tried the same extortion scheme. The alliance had been very welcoming. They greeted them with smiles, chopped off dozens of heads, and made the survivors crawl out on their knees with those heads in their mouths. Those people were ruthless, like literal demons. The rogue cultivators wouldn't go back there if their lives depended on it. They were terrified of the White Bone Alliance.
Fang Chen threw Wang Yuan out to the dirt. Should I start taking heads to remind you that the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion isn't to be messed with?
Wang Yuan outgritted his teeth. If that's how you feel, we'll leave, but don't blame us for telling the truth when Mount Sanking comes asking questions. Still making threats, a cold light flashed in Fang Chen's eyes. The purple sword blurred, and with a sickening thwack, he severed the man's arm.
Wang Yuan cried out in pain, clutching his gushing, bloody arm, terror etched on his face.
But what made his pupils shrink was the purple sword, which, seemingly on its own, stabbed towards his face. He didn't dare utter another word, turning tail and running. The remaining rogue cultivators scattered like a swarm of frightened bees.
Fang Chen recalled the purple sword, snorting coldly. Cowards who only pick on the weak.
The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion stepped forward, gazing at the shattered jade letter. He sighed softly.
Every inch of taking Grand Province holds trouble.
I had hoped to quietly develop the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, but now we are directly clashing with Mount Sanking. We've strayed far from our original intention.
Fang Chen said, since we've invited so many powerful cultivators from the Sanctuary of Myriad Tribulations to be guest elders, Mount Sanking will surely think twice.
The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion nodded. I hope Mount Sanking will be wary because of this, but who is that on your back? He asked in surprise.
Fang Chen was carrying a charred figure wrapped in black robes. The exposed arm was slender, suggesting it was a woman.
Fang Chen casually tossed her down. She fell from the sky like a fireball, almost crushed me to death. How could a human possibly fall from the sky? The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion couldn't even picture it. Find someone to look after her.
Come on, everyone's been eager to see you. Fang Chen looked up, familiar faces meeting his gaze. He smiled. All right, I've got something for everyone.
The group entered the grand hall. Fang Chen first took out 2 demon soul fruits, handing one each to Fairy Cloud, Raiment, and Demon Emperor Nuxin. It's been a while since you both crossed the tribulation. Your cultivation must have stabilized by now. Strive to reach a higher level by the Grand Sect founding ceremony. Fairy Cloud Raiment accepted with a smile. She knew she'd have no problem. After her Heavenly Fox bloodline absorbed Fang Chen's essence, she was already at the peak one, Aperture Demon Emperor realm. Consuming this fruit, breaking through was a sure thing. Demon Emperor Nuxin accepted with considerable emotion. The 4 Seas Demon Emperors and Demon Emperor Kankyong have been stuck at 1, Aperture for years, making no progress. Yet, I broke through just over a month ago, and Sister Clow, Raiment less than a month, and we can already advance another level.
It's truly astonishing how many fortuitous opportunities come from following our master.
Liu Qingxian glanced at Fang Chen with a hint of jealousy, her pearly teeth lightly biting her red lips. A faint, inexpressible grievance rose in her heart. She had known Fang Chen far longer than the 2 female demon emperors, yet in the end, they seemed to receive more of his attention.
Fang Chen suddenly waved with a smile.
Go pacify your female demon emperors. Don't mind me. Liu Qingxian awkwardly turned her body away, intentionally avoiding Fang Chen's gaze. A few suppressed giggles rippled through the hall. Having too many beautiful women wasn't always a blessing, it seemed. Fang Chen walked over with a smile, taking out a heaven, soaring pill and placing it in her hand. Don't want the heaven, soaring pill anymore, then I'll just give it to you, Mingzhu. Liu Qingxian looked down, and a gasp of delighted surprise escaped her. It was actually a spirit pill of legendary caliber. She quickly clutched it. Yes, of course, I want it. The smiles vanished from everyone's faces. Their eyes widened in shock. A tribulation opportunity. Everyone present knew just how incredibly rare such a thing was, and Fang Chen had just casually handed one to Liu Qingxian.
Yu Mingzhu crossed her arms over her chest, pouting. Where's mine? If you forgot about me, I'm running back to the mainland right now to keep Gong Kei company.
Fang Chen was torn between laughter and exasperation as he took out the last heaven, soaring pill. Yu Mingzhu giggled and ran over, snatching it up. Her face lit up with delight. I knew you wouldn't forget me. She stood on her tiptoes and casually pecked Fang Chen's cheek with a loud smack. Thanks, husband, hee. Another one had received a tribulation opportunity. The powerful cultivators present, especially those at core formation realm, 9th level perfection, couldn't help but sigh with awe as they gazed at Liu Qingxian and Yu Mingzhu, who stood on either side of Fang Chen. Normally speaking, neither woman would ever have had a chance to cross the tribulation in this life. Especially Yu Mingzhu, she had been stuck at the 8th level of core formation for so many years, finding it almost impossible to even reach the 9th level. Yet now she had hope of breaking through to the Nascent Soul realm. Liu Qingxian was even more remarkable. From the daughter of the Azure Cloud Sect Master of the 9 sects, she had soared straight up with Fang Chen's help, surpassing the 4 Vice Pavilion Masters of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion and crossing the tribulation before them. It was truly impossible not to envy her. How did that saying go? The value of Fang Chen's women just kept on rising. Fang Chen then took out 2 Bodhi pills, handing 1 pair to each woman. You two try to cross the tribulation within 3 days. Don't feel any pressure. If you fail, I'll help you find more, until I ensure you both succeed. Yu Mingzhu was overjoyed. Does this mean I can just lie down and ascend to Nascent Soul? Fang Chen lightly flicked her nose. Don't get careless. Even with me protecting you, crossing the tribulation is still incredibly dangerous. Yu Mingzhu, however, smiled mysteriously. Don't worry, husband. I'll succeed in crossing the tribulation, and I'll even help Sister Qingxian succeed. Having cultivated the Imperial Kai observation technique, she could already easily draw upon the luck of heaven and earth for her own use. Should a crisis arise during crossing the tribulation, she would intervene with the world's luck. Coupled with the Bod, High Pill and Yi Banxia's Jade, carved Phoenix Chair, she and Liu Qingxian would have a much easier time crossing the tribulation than ordinary cultivators. While it wouldn't be as ridiculously easy as it was for Fairy Cloud, Raymond, it shouldn't be much of an issue. Fang Chen wondered where Yu Mingzhu's sudden surge of confidence came from. Uncle, Master, isn't there one for me? Zia Keoj, in a long Inquash-style dress, her small hands clasped behind her back, stood out from the crowd like a crane among chickens. She said with a slight smile. Fang Chen grinned brightly. Only 2 left. Seeing Zia Keoj's eyes dim slightly, he quickly added, Don't worry, there are still a few more. Hua Wang, who had been hiding in the clouds, flew down with a pained expression, dutifully appearing by Fang Chen's side. Everyone stared at the girl, astonished. She was even younger than Fang Chen, yet she had already reached the Nascent Soul realm. Liang Feiyan asked in astonishment, Junior brother Fang, which family's little beauty have you corrupted this time? Fang Chen rolled his eyes. Let me introduce you, he said. She's worth 4 heaven, soaring pills. When I'm in seclusion, make sure to keep a close eye on her, don't let her run off. 4 heaven, soaring pills. Everyone's eyes immediately went red. They stared at Hua Wang as if she were a human-shaped heaven, soaring pill. The corners of Zia Keoj's mouth, which had drooped, now curved slightly upwards again. Though she didn't need a heaven, soaring pill, it was enough that Fang Chen had her in mind. She chuckled softly. Thank you, Uncle Master, at the Grand Sect. Founding ceremony, I'll also have a gift for you. Fang Chen was surprised. Zia Keoj had prepared a gift for him. He felt a thrill of anticipation. Yi Banxia sat on the jade, carved Phoenix Chair, crossing her fair, slender legs. Of those 4 heaven soaring pills, one absolutely has to be mine. Fang Chen let out a helpless laugh. Of course, senior sister, you will have one, he said. Earlier, when Demon Emperor Nuxin crossed the tribulation, she had used and damaged Yi Banxia's Jade, carved Phoenix Chair. Now, with Yu Mingzhu and Liu Qingxian also needing the Jade, carved Phoenix Chair for their tribulation crossing, Yi Banxia's contribution was indispensable. Fang Chen looked around at everyone, his gaze sweeping over the 4 Vice Pavilion Masters, Ren Guhong, Wang Chong, and the other cultivators at Core Formation Realm. 9th level perfection, he said seriously. There are only this many heaven, soaring pills at the moment. I will try my best to keep an eye out for everyone, but I can't guarantee that everyone will get one. Even in taking Grand Province, tribulation opportunities are not easily obtained. Please understand. Even the usually thicks, Kind Liang Feiyan quickly said, Junior brother Fang, please don't say that. We should be seeking our own tribulation opportunities. How could we possibly rely on you, or blame you if we don't get one? You just focus on your own matters, we will find our own fortuitous opportunities. Everyone clasped their hands in respect. Fang Chen had already done more than enough for the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. No one would blame him for anything. Fang Chen nodded, then took out the high-grade crystal vein. Handing it to the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, he said, Pavilion Master, find a way to bury this beneath the sect. It will enhance the spiritual energy here, allowing disciples in the core formation realm to cultivate much faster. The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion scanned the spatial storage artifact and gasped. Where did you get this?
having visited the take in Grand Province many times. He knew exactly how rare this crystal ore was. It was something only a powerhouse at the 6th aperture, Nascent Soul realm or higher would possess.
Fang Chen looked a bit awkward. An enthusiastic old man, donated it for free, just take it. The master of the heavenly secret pavilion beamed. With a spirit vein, this powerful anchoring us, the spiritual energy of our heavenly secrets pavilion will rival the most legendary peaks. Our disciples will cultivate faster here than they ever did on the mainland.
After settling everything, Fang Chen scanned the group and realized someone was missing. He racked his brain for a moment before it clicked.
Where's Gu Zinner?
Didn't she sign up to join the new pavilion of heavenly secrets? Why isn't she here? The master's expression turned strange. Gu Zinner requested a leave of absence a month ago. She said she'd be back with a grand gift once the new pavilion of heavenly secrets was officially established. Fang Chen looked surprised. Man, she really is forgettable. I didn't even notice she'd been gone for a month. Whatever, forget about her.
I'm going into seclusion for 3 days. While I'm out, make sure you guard those 4 heaven, soaring pills with your lives. Also, the moment that charred woman wakes up, let me know immediately. He headed toward a row of secret chambers carved into the back of the mountain. He needed to absorb the Netherworld Ghost Fire. According to the manual for the Void, flow 5 energies, achieving great mastery in any one energy would allow him to manifest an origin source. He didn't know what an origin source actually was yet, but he knew it would be a game changer. Just as he was about to step inside, a wave of floral scent washed over him. Dressed in snow-white robes, fairy cloud, raiment slipped into the secret chamber ahead of him. She glanced back, her eyes twinkling. My Fang, I'd like to improve my cultivation level. Her face was slightly flushed, her eyes shy. She felt using the demon soul fruit to break through to the 2 aperture demon emperor realm would be a waste. If she used her heavenly fox bloodline to push her peak 1 aperture demon emperor status to the 2nd level first, then use the fruit to hit the 3 aperture demon emperor realm, it would be much more efficient. It just meant Fang Chen was going to have a very long night. Fang Chen felt his heart skip a beat, but then he remembered the terrifying power of the heavenly fox bloodline, the kind that left him completely drained. He hesitated, his survival instincts fighting his desires. Fairy Cloud, Raymond sat gracefully on the edge of the bed, watching him with a playful, shy look. My Fang, are you afraid? Who's afraid? Fang Chen gritted his teeth and stormed into the secret chamber. He slammed the stone door shut with a loud boom and roared, Heavenly Fox bloodline, bring it on. A day later, Fairy Cloud, Raymond emerged looking radiant. Her skin glowed with a translucent luster, and her beautiful face was flushed with a healthy pink, a soft smile playing on her lips. Inside her, her demon nascent soul had successfully opened its 2nd aperture. Back in the secret chamber, Fang Chen was a shell of a man. With dark circles under his eyes, he slumped over, muttering, She's relentless, I've been sucked dry. Despite the exhaustion, he pulled out the sacred flame order, forcing himself to focus as he began to absorb the fire within. Deep within the gloomy, sinister halls of the White Bone Alliance, 4 figures radiating the pressure of a nascent soul aura loomed in the shadows. 3 stood to the sides, while at the highest point of the whole sat a powerhouse shrouded in darkness. He exuded the terrifying presence of a 7 aperture nascent soul. He was the White Bone Alliance Master. The lowest-ranking nascent soul expert bowed. Alliance Master, what should we do with these 2? Mu Ying and her uncle lay on the floor, soaked in blood. Mu Ying's fingers had been snapped one by one, and her arms were twisted like pretzels. Her uncle fared no better, his eyes had been gouged out, and dozens of black steel needles were driven through his body. Lock them up, the master commanded. When we catch that nascent soul brat, Fang Chen, they will be the ones to identify him, Mu Ying and her uncle. They hadn't escaped the White Bone Alliance's clutches after all. Despite fleeing so far and hiding so well, the Alliance's reach was too long. Under the weight of such inhuman torture, they had eventually broken and confessed everything. Alliance Master, another sect has moved into Green Lie Mountain. They call themselves the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. How shall we handle them? The Master's voice was cold. Tell them to get lost. The teleportation formation in the underground palace belongs to us. No one else touches it. The subordinate bowed low. Understood. I'll go now. The Master paused. No, wait until their opening day. Wipe the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion off the map in front of all their guests. Show them that Green Lie Mountain doesn't have room for a second power. In the rolling peaks of Mount Sanking, plumes of colorful elixir mist drifted into the air. Suddenly, a 5-colored mist shot into the sky, exploding into a magnificent cloud that blanketed the heavens.
The disciples of Mount Sanking were stunned. Another heaven, soaring pill, that's the 30th one, the Dao head has refined this month. One a day, no one in the Taking Grand Province can match our Dao head's speed. Even those legendary old masters couldn't pull this off. Of course not. Our Dao head is a certified 5-star soul master.
He's in a league of his own.
Mount Sanking wasn't the only alchemy sect in the province, and the sect leader of Sanking Mountain wasn't the only one who could craft a grade 5 spirit pill.
But he was the only one who could do it with such ruthless consistency and volume.
As the elixir mist cleared, an old Taoist in white robes, a 7-aperture Nascent Soul powerhouse, stepped out of the alchemy chamber clutching a horsetail whisk. He looked to be in his 80s, surrounded by a swirling pure energy. He looked every bit the immortal sage, untouched by the dust of the world. With a light tap of his toes, he glided into the main hall. The sect's experts immediately gathered to pay their respects.
Welcome back, Dao head.
The sect leader of Sanking Mountain sat on a meditation cushion, several jade vials filled with heaven, soaring pills beside him.
Keep enough for our own disciples. Contact the other sects and sell the rest at 10 times the usual price.
10 times, several elders stammered, wondering if they'd misheard. Isn't that a bit steep? The sect leader remained calm. A great tribulation is coming. Every heaven, soaring pill is a lifeline. A key ingredient for these pills comes from the vast sea, but the 4 seas have cut ties with us. The supply is gone. With the quantity dropping, rarity dictates the price. At 10 times the cost, people will still beg to buy them. The elders saw the logic, and each took a jade vial. Once the pills were distributed, the sect leader looked up.
Elder Xiang, a portly middle-aged Taoist, stepped forward with a bow. I am here.
The sect leader's gaze was piercing. Have you found the person who cracked the formula for the winter cicada nirvana pill?
By now, Mount Sanking had realized what happened.
They'd heard through the grapevine that the 4 seas were contacting every alchemist in the province to produce the winter cicada nirvana pill using ingredients provided by
the 4 seas demon race. There was no doubt their secret formula had been leaked.
The portly Taoist's eyes flickered. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I have a suspect.
The other Taoist's eyes grew sharp.
Someone had cracked the winter cicada nirvana pill, allowing the 4 seas to slip from their control and causing a massive shortage of ingredients for pills like the heaven soaring pill. This wasn't just a slight, it was a declaration of war.
The sect leader's eyes narrowed. Who is it?
This portly Taoist was none other than the real Elder Xiang, who had been devoured by the hellish desolate beast. The man standing there now was the beast itself. He narrowed his eyes. I suspect a brat named Fang Chen. Word is, the 4 seas have named him a foreign sea king, and the 4 seas demon emperors have even sworn brotherhood with him.
They wouldn't do that unless he'd done them a massive favor.
In truth, the hellish desolate beast wasn't certain it was Fang Chen, but he wanted to paint a target on the boy's back. The sect leader mused, what's his background? The beast replied, the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion from the mainland. The Directorate of Astronomy just announced they've relocated to Green Lie Mountain. A sharp light gleamed in the sect leader's eyes. Green Lie Mountain. After a moment's thought, he swept his sleeves. Then I shall pay the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion a personal visit.
A look of agony washed over Fang Chen's face. His skin turned a deep, angry red, making him look like a piece of iron glowing in a furnace.
Clouds of white steam hissed from his pores. He ground his teeth so hard they creaked. His vision blurred and faded into darkness, several times bringing him to the brink of passing out. Even after surviving 2 rounds of true spirit blood-body tempering and the immeasurable blood tribulation, this pain was nearly unbearable. The agony of absorbing the Netherworld Ghost Fire was on another level.
As more steam poured from his body, his internal temperature hit the breaking point. It felt like his organs were being cooked alive, and even his nascent soul began to flicker violently.
The Netherworld Ghost Fire refused to merge with his fire core. Instead, the blood, red core formed from the Asura karmic fire began to crack under the heat, on the verge of shattering completely. Fang Chen's expression twisted. If this continued, he wouldn't just fail to refine the fire, his nascent soul would be incinerated, his cultivation destroyed, and his life forfeit.
Was he really going to give up? He couldn't. Not when he was so close to reaching great mastery in his void flow fire force.
Sensing that things were taking a turn for the worse, little Killen paced back and forth, frantic with worry. Suddenly, a faint green flame began to flicker across Fang Chen's skin, a clear sign that the Netherworld Ghost Fire was spiraling out of control. Even experts in the 7-aperture nascent soul realm lived in absolute terror of this flame. If he lost control now, and it consumed him, he would be reduced to nothing but ash.
Stop, you have to stop. Little Kilin shrieked in desperation. Fang Chen felt the danger too. The heat was overwhelming, far exceeding his current capacity to refine it. At the very least, he'd need to be in the deity transformation realm to handle a flame this potent without breaking a sweat. He couldn't push his luck any further or he'd pay with his life. He gritted his teeth, and just as he was about to give up, a sudden memory flashed through his mind. Why was that red-faced elder so intent on buying vegetables packed with yin kai? He was supposed to be refining the Phoenix Feather 9 Flames fan for Venerable Mantra, so what possible use would he have for yin kai vegetables? Driven by a desperate hunch, he ignored Hua Xin's gasp of horror and whipped out a handful of yin kai vegetables. He shoved them into his mouth and began chewing furiously. Instantly, a surge of pure yin kai flooded his body. It didn't just dampen the searing heat within him. It locked onto the Netherworld Ghost Fire like a natural predator and charged. The Ghost Fire was still terrifyingly powerful, however, melting the yin kai the second it got close. A flicker of hope ignited in Fang Chen's chest. How could I be so stupid? Fire is the ultimate enemy of all things yin. But if I have enough yin energy, the reverse is also true. It can suppress the Ghost Fire. He didn't hesitate for another second, shoveling more yin kai vegetables into his mouth. One after another, he devoured them. By the time he had less than 10% of his stock left, the yin kai in his body was so dense it was literally oozing from his pores. Under the crushing weight of that concentrated yin kai, the Netherworld Ghost Fire was surrounded and forced into a tight, compact ball. Seizing the opening, Fang Chen channeled the azure, blue true flame art, using his fire core to drag the Netherworld Ghost Fire inward. Though the Ghost Fire resisted with all its might, the overwhelming pressure of the yin kai forced it into the fire core, strand by agonizing strand. Fang Chen was ecstatic. He had been seconds away from quitting. Who would have thought the yin kai vegetables he'd once dismissed as useless would become his ultimate salvation? He focused entirely on the process, absorbing the energy bit by bit. 3 days later, a knock echoed at his door. Fang Chen's eyes snapped open. A ripple of emerald flame shimmered across his pupils like a wave before vanishing. The Netherworld Ghost Fire was completely refined. Every last spark had been merged into his fire core. His fire core was no longer the blood, red orb it had once been. It had transformed into a swirling, fiery vortex. The vortex was almost entirely a brilliant emerald green, with only traces of red remaining. At the very center of the cyclone sat a tiny green spark, no larger than a sesame seed. It burned silently, radiating no heat whatsoever. The once deadly Netherworld Ghost Fire now circled it with absolute obedience. It was as if that tiny spark was the king of all flames, and all others were forced to bow. Fang Chen performed an internal inspection, his gaze locking onto the spark, unable to look away. He felt a surge of pure, unadulterated excitement. Could this be a fire origin? Though it was tiny, it gave off a terrifying aura that felt like it could incinerate anything in existence. It reminded him of when he first encountered the heaven, burning clam pearl. Back then, even a stray spark would have turned him to ash instantly. This fire origin felt exactly the same. He couldn't even imagine the havoc it would wreak if he unleashed it in a real fight. A look of intense anticipation gleamed in Fang Chen's eyes. The knock came a second time. Fang Chen did a quick mental calculation. Today was the day, the Grand Sect founding ceremony. He quickly dressed, scooped up little Kilin, and swung the heavy stone door open. Fairy Cloud Raiment was standing there waiting for him. She was staring in shock at the stone door, which had been warped and melted into ripples by the sheer intensity of the heat. What kind of fire could possibly do this to a foot-thick door made of reinforced rock? My Fang, are you all right? She looked him over, her eyes full of concern. Standing before her, Fang Chen gave up. Her heavenly fox bloodline began to surge and boil within her, reacting with a strange, frantic excitement. He was still the same Fang Chen. His face and cultivation level hadn't changed, but he felt like he had undergone a complete metamorphosis. Fang Chen gave her cheek a playful pinch. In what way do you mean? Am I okay? Or am I okay? Fairy Cloud Raiment's face turned bright red. Stop playing around. Everyone is waiting for you to carve the name of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion and officially establish the sect. Fang Chen's expression turned serious. He nodded and walked with her toward the sect gate tower. Fairy Cloud Raiment naturally looped her arm through his, and together they took to the skies. Just as they were about to leave, a blurry white silhouette materialized out of thin air right in front of them. It was a tall, statuesque woman with striking, alluring curves.
She had long, flawless legs, a waist so impossibly narrow it could be held in one hand, and classical features. Piercing phoenix-like eyes, an elegant nose, and vivid red lips.
She possessed the kind of world-toppling beauty that could bring entire empires to their knees with a single smile. Even standing next to Fairy Cloud Raiment, whose looks were the stuff of legends, this woman's beauty didn't pale in the slightest.
Fang Chen froze. Who is this? This gorgeous stranger who could casually hover in midair and move at such an incomprehensible speed left him entirely bewildered.
Since when did the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion have someone like her? Then he remembered the charred woman he had dragged back.
Is she Fairy Cloud? Raiment nodded, a strange look crossing her face. It's her. She woke up this morning, and I lent her some of my clothes.
Fang Chen was dumbfounded. Is she in the Nascent Soul realm?
Fairy Cloud Raiment stayed silent for a moment before replying, probably far beyond that. Look behind you.
Wasn't that just the back mountain of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion? It was the mountain range of Greenlie Mountain. Turning his head, Fang Chen sucked in a sharp breath. Right in the center of the massive mountain range that cut across the horizon was a colossal, gaping hole in the exact shape of a handprint. It punched clean through the rock. This was definitely not the destructive power of a Nascent Soul realm expert. A 7-aperture Nascent Soul couldn't pull this off. Even a 9-aperture Nascent Soul probably wouldn't stand a chance. Snapping back to reality, Fang Chen stared at the breathtakingly beautiful woman before him. He swallowed hard. She did that. Fairy Cloud Raiment nodded. Even her usually calm demeanor was cracked by lingering terror. She woke up startled and lashed out instinctively. Thank the gods no one was near her, or it would have been an absolute slaughter.
Fortunately, after that single strike, she calmed down. She's just been spacing out ever since, without randomly attacking anyone.
With that, she cast a sideways glance at Fang Chen, her expression odd. Where exactly did you pick this woman up? Fang Chen gulped again, a horrifying suspicion already taking root in his mind.
He said, I think I know who she is.
Deity Transformation Realm, falling straight out of the sky, wasn't that venerable mantra who had ascended the sky-touching black pillar.
As for why she had locked onto him like a heat-seeking missile while burning like a fireball.
Fang Chen pulled out a pink lotus artifact from his heavenly thunderstone. It was the very same life Saver Venerable Mantra had given him.
The moment he took it out, the woman immediately leaned in, her gaze locked unblinkingly on the pink lotus.
Her expression shifted, frowning, thinking, then falling completely blank. Fang Chen was practically certain now this woman was highly likely Venerable Mantra. The only reason she managed to track him from so far away was because he was carrying this pink lotus artifact. Realizing this, Fang Chen felt like coughing up blood. What was supposed to be a lifesaver had almost been his death warrant.
He took a closer look into the woman's eyes. They were the exact same eyes he had locked gazes with to establish the silent Zen connection with Venerable Mantra.
It really was her? Fang Chen carefully cupped his hands in greeting Venerable Mantra. Beside him, Fairy Cloud Raiment gasped in shock. My Fang SH, she's Venerable Mantra, Master Chenjing's master.
Fang Chen gave a slight nod. It's her, all right, but it seems like something's wrong with her mind. Because when he called out her title, she hadn't reacted at all.
Thinking for a second, Fang Chen tried again. Venerable Mantra, I'm Fang Chen. Do you remember me?
Venerable Mantra raised her eyes to look at him, sinking into deep thought but remaining completely silent. Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat. Did she really have amnesia? What in the world had happened up on the sky, touching Black Pillar? Why did Venerable Mantra fall from the sky like a blazing comet?
And what about the other two Venerables and the Bodhisattva? Fairy Cloud Raiment was practically hyperventilating. My Fang, what do we do?
She had no idea how to handle a mentally unstable senior expert of this magnitude. If they slighted her even a little, wouldn't she come looking for revenge once she regained her senses? Fang Chen found it incredibly tricky, too. This woman was famous for holding grudges. If he messed up her hospitality, God knows what she'd do when she got her memories back.
After a moment's thought, he said, no matter her condition, just treat her with courtesy.
He clasped his hands and said, Venerable, I still have important matters to attend to. Would you mind resting temporarily in the secret chamber?
Venerable Mantra remained silent, her brow still furrowed. Fairy Cloud Raiment was getting scared. If she were to lose control and accidentally unleash a strike, both she and Fang Chen would be obliterated.
She involuntarily tightened her grip on Fang Chen's arm, whispering, My Fang, Let's try to step away for a moment and see how she reacts. Fang Chen, also wary of Venerable Mantra making any sudden moves, nodded. He and Fairy Cloud, Raymond, cautiously stepped forward. Venerable Mantra's gaze tracked them. She looked at Fairy Cloud, Raymond's snow-white dress, then down at her own. She watched Fairy Cloud, Raymond's hand tightly clasped around Fang Chen's arm, then glanced at her own empty hands. She then rushed forward, pulled Fairy Cloud, Raymond away, and hooked her own arm through Fang Chen's, turning her head to exclaim, "My Fang." Fang Chen's eyes widened. He looked at Venerable Mantra, then at Fairy Cloud, Raymond, who was equally stunned after being pulled aside. For a moment, his mind went completely blank. It seemed Venerable Mantra wasn't just suffering from amnesia, her cognitive functions appeared impaired, and she was actually imitating Fairy Cloud Raymond. "My Fang," Venerable Mantra called out 3 times in quick succession. Fang Chen's scalp tingled with dread. He quickly responded. Oh heavens, if Venerable Mantra ever remembered this moment, would she kill him to silence him? Would she butcher him? He looked at Cloud Raymond, an apologetic expression on his face. "Cloud Raymond, this is just a temporary measure. Please don't take it to heart." This was clearly Fairy Cloud, Raymond's affectionate address for him, yet now Venerable Mantra was using it. Fairy Cloud Raymond snapped back to reality and said hurriedly, "Why bother with that now? Just keep her stable like this. It's probably the safest approach for now." She truly wasn't at ease leaving Venerable Mantra alone in the secret chamber. If she merely wandered off, that would be one thing, but if she lost her mind and unleashed another palm strike like before, the consequences would be catastrophic. Currently, thanks to the Pink Lotus artifact, Venerable Mantra seemed to feel some reliance on Fang Chen. With her emotions stable like this, it was undoubtedly much safer. Fang Chen gave her a look of grateful understanding, then, with a pounding heart, allowed Venerable Mantra to keep his arm hooked as they approached the entrance of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. Liu Qingxian was teaching Yu Mingzhu sword techniques. See, the 4th strike of Sword Heart Meteor inscription goes like this. At this moment, Liu Qingxian was brimming with vitality, radiating a powerful nascent soul aura. Yu Mingzhu was the same. Just yesterday, both of them had successively undergone crossing the tribulation, and both had succeeded, astonishingly without a single setback. It was exactly as Yu Mingzhu had said she could ensure both of them succeeded. Liu Qingxian was extremely grateful. Yu Mingzhu's breakthrough was incredibly smooth, encountering no dangers and proceeding without a single hitch. The ease of it was comparable to Fairy Cloud, Raymond's crossing the tribulation, as if she had been favored by the heavenly tribulation itself. The lightning strikes that hit her were divided into several gentle currents, slowly merging into her body. They neither caused severe injury, but rather aided her body tempering, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Liu Qingxian's experience, however, was far more perilous. The jade, carved phoenix chair was blasted away, the Blood Bodhi's protective shield was utterly shattered, and the heavenly tribulation seemed to hold a personal vendetta, relentlessly striking her as if to tear her apart. Fairy Cloud Raymond and the Immortal, slaying Demon Emperor, who were protecting her, were already preparing to intervene and stop the crossing the tribulation. But then, Yu Mingzhu did something inexplicable. She cast a spell, and the enraged heavenly tribulation suddenly became docile, allowing Liu Qingxian to narrowly succeed. Therefore, Liu Qingxian imparted everything she knew of the Sword Heart Meteor inscription to her. However, Yu Mingzhu couldn't grasp it. She pouted, "I give up. The sword techniques you learned in your dream seem to have a strange barrier around them. Outsiders can't imitate them." Liu Qingxian became troubled. "Then how can I ever thank you? Everything I have, you possess, and things I don't, you have those too." A hint of cunning flashed in Yu Mingzhu's eyes. "You want to thank me, don't you? Well, how about this then?" She leaned close to Liu Qingxian's ear and whispered, "Let me have the first turn, all right." Liu Qingxian froze. She didn't understand at first, but then a sudden realization dawned on her, and her face flushed crimson. She pinched Yu Mingzhu's arm. "Aren't you ashamed of yourself?" Yu Mingzhu shrugged. "I'm the Sect Master of the Joyous Union sect. What is there to be ashamed of?" Liu Qingxian's face remained flushed, but she couldn't help but laugh, flustered and annoyed. But her smile quickly froze, replaced by a look of utter astonishment. "Someone's about to steal your first turn." Yu Mingzhu turned to look and froze for a moment herself before exclaiming angrily, "Where did this woman pop out from? Holding Fang Chen's arm so brazenly, I'll go ask her who she thinks she is." But just as she was about to leap forward, Liu Qingxian pulled her back. Liu Qingxian pointed to the terrifying palm print behind the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion and whispered, "It's that burnt woman." Yu Mingzhu's scalp instantly prickled. The news of that woman waking up and punching a hole through an entire mountain range had spread throughout the sect. How could she not know? But how is she holding our Fang Chen's arm? And she even pushed Fairy Cloud, raiment to the back. Yu Mingju whispered, clearly annoyed. Liu Qingxian mused, something's amiss here. Fang Chen wouldn't treat a woman like this without a good reason. There has to be an explanation. Let's observe.
The master of the heavenly secret pavilion also looked at Fang Chen with surprise and doubt. Fang Chen, through a shared glance, activated his silent zen and explained the situation. The master of the heavenly secret pavilion gasped, "Venerable mantra, and she has amnesia. That's unsettling." Fang Chen, feigning composure, walked to the sect gate tower and softly said to Venerable mantra beside him, "Venerable, would you mind standing to the side for a moment?" Venerable mantra thought for a moment, then glanced at Fairy Cloud raiment. Noticing she was standing to the side, Venerable mantra released Fang Chen. She went and stood beside Fairy Cloud's raiment. With their similar attire, matching figures, and unparalleled beauty, they looked like a pair of sisters. Fang Chen subtly sighed in relief, then drew his purple sword. He leaped into the air and, using his spiritual energy, carved 3 grand, sweeping characters onto the massive Sect Gate Tower Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, the 4 vice pavilion masters, the 4 managers. And the veteran disciples gazed up at the words Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, a wave of unnameable emotion washing over them. The new Heavenly Secrets Pavilion was finally a reality. Today marked the beginning of a whole new journey. The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion looked at the carved stone and asked, "Should we use gold leaf or cinnabar for the inlay?" The carvings were faint against the stone. They needed a coat of pigment to truly stand out. Fang Chen was about to speak when a cold, sinister voice drifted in from the horizon. Knocking it down would be better. In the distance, a figure atop a mass of black clouds streaked toward them at breakneck speed. Within the dark clouds, the silhouette of a powerful 4-aperture Nascent Soul expert flickered in and out of view. The overwhelming pressure he radiated caused everyone from the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion to pale. The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion cupped his hands in greeting. "Are you a senior from Mount Sanking?" The black clouds dispersed as a hulking figure in a dark cloak plummeted onto the ground. He had rugged features and a vicious, bloodthirsty look in his eyes, his face thick with muscle. He glanced sideways at the words Heavenly Secrets Pavilion with pure contempt. "The White Bone Alliance claims this territory. We don't allow anyone to start a sect here. Tear down this sect gate tower yourselves. Don't make me do it for you." The White Bone Alliance, the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, looked confused. Since when did Green Lie Mountain have a sect by that name? Since the stranger was clearly looking for a fight, the master didn't bother being polite. "Look, we aren't looking for trouble. Stay out of our way." Before he could finish, the burly man flicked his sleeve. A surge of the power of the Nascent Soul slammed toward the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion like a collapsing mountain. The master's expression darkened. There were many disciples in the core formation realm standing right behind him. Releasing that level of the power of the Nascent Soul was a clear attempt at a massacre. His eyes flashed with a cold light as 2 thunderbolt beams erupted from his pupils, carrying the overwhelming force of a 3-aperture Nascent Soul. The master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion had quietly broken through to the 3-aperture Nascent Soul stage. The thunderbolt beams instantly shattered the incoming energy and shot toward the burly man. He flickered away just in time to dodge them, a look of shock crossing his face. A 3-aperture Nascent Soul? How does a pathetic little place like the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion hide a 3-aperture Nascent Soul? A moment later, his surprise twisted into a sadistic grin. "Even better, I'll mount your head on this sect gate tower. That should stop any other fools from trying to set up a sect here." His chest surged as a gruesome blood hand clawed its way out from his heart. Rippling through space, it instantly materialized right in front of the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion's throat. The master was caught off guard by the sudden, bizarre technique. But at that exact moment, 2 thick bolts of lightning, aimed with perfect foresight, tore right through the blood hand. The burly man hissed, sucking in a sharp breath of disbelief. He looked over and saw Fang Chen standing beneath the sect gate tower, his expression frosty. "Master, forget the gold leaf or the cinnabar. This guy's blood is the perfect pigment for our sign. Imagine being a local rogue cultivator in Green Lie Mountain, thinking you're the apex predator because you've got a fake decree from Mount Sanking, only to realize the new neighbor just moved in with a literal amnesiac nuclear deterrent attached to his arm. Absolute cinema." While the White Bone Alliance is busy playing landlord and planning a warm welcome for the grand opening, the entire power scaling of the province just got nuked from orbit. Fang Chen isn't just building a pavilion, he's running a daycare for the strongest entity in the world, while the local bullies are still playing checkers. These NPCs are legitimately cooked. But here's the real question: if you were Fang Chen, would you gaslight a brain?
damaged Venerable into becoming your sect's ultimate weapon? Or is adopting a lost goddess for survival the exact moment a protagonist officially trades his moral compass for the ultimate cheat code?